happen. There's just so many things happening in the world today, and it's just so hard to keep up. But it's not a matter of keeping up because we have to make our own lane and put our own energy out there. If you get caught up in social media, if you get caught up in the news, you stand still in your own life and become stagnant. But while you do your thing, you have to know what's going on around you, but don't let it consume you. It's all a balance. Anyway, we're going to jump right into it. I slept like a baby today. I wasn't supposed to take the nap that I took earlier. I finally got my sleep pattern back right, woke up early, slept long, had a good amount of sleep, got up early. Probably like 8:30 this morning, got right into action, did some things online. Me and Mrs. SCURV went out. She took another day off because she is so caught up on the property with all her gardening and stuff like that. And it's good that she took off because in the early afternoon, when we took a walk out, it was raining cats and dogs. We got in just in time. Now, I know that Florida, Central Florida, is the lightning capital of the United States, but it's not the lightning capital of the world. Now, it doesn't rain in Ghana like that. It will do in the rainy season a little bit every day, but this was the heavyweight champ of all storms. Forget about it. It's crazy. I mean, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before in my life. The thunder was so loud. It was just dropping down. And I've been through a few good storms and hurricanes in Central Florida, and nothing compares to this. So it rained all day long, and for a second, the power cut off, and I was like, you know what? Let me just lay down for a little bit. There's nothing else to do. I can't do anything else. And I did that and slept for a few more hours. That shows you the level of fatigue that's inside my body, which I will always work on to make sure to get my sleep. So I woke up, everything was straight. It was just raining milder, but steady. It's still raining now, but Mrs. SCURV isn't for a big surprise if it rained up there in the mountains. So she'll have a lot of moist soil to deal with, which that's what she wants. So I'm probably going to go up there with her tomorrow, bring the camera, get some good footage. I've been getting a little footage here and there out in the street, so I'll chop some things up. It's non-directional, but it's always something to see, to see the real thing. So anyway, just want to say salute to Brother Jeff. Riri's here. Yes, Sister Oyala. Master Glam in the house. Genuine trucker Twan. I was just say Twan like Antoine. I'm just saying it like that. I hope I'm not jacking up your name and everything like that. So I feel good. A little sweaty, but I feel good. I feel drugged. That sleep. You can get addicted to it. I don't know. I think I'm going to get into the sleep while I'm alive. People say, well, you can sleep forever when you're dead. I don't know about that. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm here right now, and I got a job to do, and there's certain things I got to do. Well, anyway, you all know it. You all heard about it. I can't say anything more about the fact that Jerry Springer is dead. Well, why did I put up this white man that he died? I had a few points that I wanted to make about his life, and Carol Bryant Dunham. Do you know who that is? That's the woman who said that Emmett Till whistled at her and they went and eventually lynched her. She's dead. She died today. Am I crying? No, we should throw a party. But I don't want to just talk about her. I'm not the white people channel today. I want to speak about deadly Karen energy and what can happen in your life on these jobs and life, and also I want to talk about not marrying into big families. Do I hate big families? No, I love big families. But there was a comment made on the video that we did, a live show, digital currency and Harry Belafonte passes and Dom Lemon fired and the bitter taste of betrayal. If you remember, a beautiful young lady, Miracle Joy, came on to speak about what she's going through with her, even though they're not married yet, in-laws, see? And there was a comment made in the bottom, several comments I'm going to read off from that particular video. And I said, you know what? I'll talk about that. It may not be something that we'll do a whole show just with me talking about it, but I would like to have a discussion about these families, these toxic in-laws, and why you shouldn't marry into them. And, this, I don't know whether it's a brother or a sister, but GM Williamsville, you made those comments on that show. And I said, you know what? You're making some points. And when I compare it to personal experience, like I said, it's not all big families, but there's one big family I know that is just not like that. They do have a few bad apples, but overall, they're pretty good people. And like I said, I want to talk about that. But first, I want to make a few mentions about Jerry Springer. I want to read off an article from, and I'll put this in the chat room when I'm done, and by the end of the show, I'll put it there. But it's no big thing. People have to live, and they're going to die. They're going to transition. But I want to read a little bit. It's a long article, but I'm not going to read a long bit of it. I just want to give you a taste for those who in the future will be watching this show and say, well, who the hell is this? This is from the BBC, right? Jerry Springer, the TV presenter best known for his raucous talk shows, has died at age 79. The Jerry Springer Show, which ran for nearly 3 decades from 1991, brought fights, flying chairs, and the fringes of U.S. society to a global audience. See, I'm saying all of this, I'm reading this article because that's not really a good thing, right? Springer died peacefully on Thursday at his home in Chicago. His publicist confirmed to BBC News. Gene Galvin, a friend of Springer's and spokesman for the family, described him as irreplaceable. Wait a second, Gene? That better be a woman, right? Is he married? And why is this it's spelled a Jene? We got to figure out who this is. Did he have a secret life? Who knows? Jerry's ability to connect with people was at the heart of his success and everything he tried, whether that was politics, broadcasting, or just joking with people on the street who wanted a photo or a word, he said. He's irreplaceable, and his loss hurts immensely, but memories of his intellect, heart, and humor will live on. Springer's chat show became a symbol of lowbrow television over the course of almost 5,000 episodes, with his chaotic confrontation, swearing, and infidelity revelations. Fellow chat show host Ricky Lake led the tributes on social media, writing, just waking to the very sad news of the passing of my long-time talk show rival and friend, Jerry Springer, a lovely man. May he rest in peace. There's a whole lot more here. I'll put the article down, but pretty much if you might remember him. Of course you had to, but back in the day, there's some here who are a little younger who may not know unless they saw it on the reruns. Now, this is what I want to say about him. I have no problem with him, but, you know, I do have a problem with him. I have a partial problem with him. He's one of those white guys that, you know, he's cool with you. I'm not saying he's hateful or evil, but what he did is exposing, they say, American society, but there are a lot of black images put out there that the raunchier and the more decadent and more ignorant it was, then he went for it. Now, was it his responsibility to put out balanced content? Not really. They're going to go with what sells. But the bottom line is that he put those images out there. He profited from it. And I'm not saying all of us, but many of us couldn't stop watching that show. You see what I mean? Couldn't stop. Now, let me just say right here, we have Sister Sarah May, who just said, hi, Brother Scurv. Hi, how are you doing, Sarah May? Nobody can see you on Facebook. The YouTube folks here, family here, can't see you on Facebook because you're on Facebook. So if you want to interact with the crowd here, just go to YouTube LANCESCURV, the way it's spelled, youtube.com/LANCESCURV. But it's good seeing you here, sister. You know, I can't ignore you. But they profited greatly, and it went for 5,000, give or take, episodes. So what does that tell you? There's a demand for it. Is it life imitating art or art imitating life? It's more so art imitating life. But then life imitates the art that came from art imitating life. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? And this was back in the 90s. And things were changing then. You know, I mean, the way they had the shock effect with this show. They always had some hillbillies, some hood rats. Hey, I hate to say those words, but you know what it is. I can't sugarcoat it. They had dudes that, you know, the woman thought that he was cheating, and all of a sudden, you know, he was cheating with a man, cheating with a tranny. You know, they painted black women. Oh, they painted black women so bad. And people say, well, they painted white women so bad too. Well, they had a sprinkling of that, but that my fight is from my end of things. Okay, they slipped that in there. And you go to these jobs where it's predominantly the other people, and they're home watching Jerry Springer, and they see you that way. Or maybe you might have been from a so-called downtrodden neighborhood, but it didn't mean that that dictated your cerebral. It didn't mean that it dictated your morale. I know many people from the so-called hood that are hardworking, decent, and that is not their mentality. You see, but the worst of the worst always get put to the forefront. And there are a lot of people who are watching those shows, especially youngsters. Jerry Springer was the TV decadent social media before social media came to be. Am I going to say it's by design, or that they designed this show because they knew that later on there's going to be social media? I can't really say that. But wherever decadence was, the media was there. Wherever decadence was, the media was there. And this is one of those shows. You couldn't watch those shows too long, right? Now, those of us who are adults, we know the deal. We know that, this is the lower end of the spectrum. This is just junk food for the mind. But what about the children who sat and watched as the adults who had filters watched? Where were their filters? We rush so hard to, I'd see it, count to 10 and cut it off. I could not sit down and let this absorb into my brain and really bring us to a standstill, reinforcing certain stereotypes. And then we don't take the time. Did you ever watch National Geographic? I'm not saying you have to watch National Geographic, right? All I'm saying, did you offer to your children balanced viewing? And this was like, how could I put it? This was like the setup for the uppercut that knocked the opponent out. All of that era, because you had with Sarah Jesse Raphael, you had so many other people out here that were doing spinoff type shows on Jerry Springer. Maury Povich, You Are the Father. I mean, what is that really when you look at it? It's a broadcast because, like I said, for them, it's making them money. But we were watching those shows. So and I'm not saying anybody here in the chat room, but overall, there was a good percentage of Black people in America who are eating down, absorbing, sucking it down, suck and swallow. Yes, I mean to be a little lewd when I say that. That's right. With no condom. You just swallowed it all down, which in this case is a bad thing. No good. And then later on, we have social media where we started to show our own decadence. I remember when Facebook came out, it tried to come out nice and decent. It tried to be like LinkedIn, but not for business, just for, for friends and acquaintances and stuff. And then that mentality got a hold of it shortly after. Because Facebook at first was just so plain. But once Facebook got video involved, it was a wrap. Then we had our smartphones and internet marriage that happened. And I always talk about that. At one time, there was a cell phone, but you couldn't go online with it. Once it started to be where you can go online with it, all hell broke loose. You can videotape things and shoot it up to social media right there on the spot. And you could take advantage of a lot of ratchet situations and put it out there. And we thought that was fun. I'm not saying I did. I saw it, but I'm never too quick to jump into something before I see what it is as far as the poisonous effects that it will have on our minds. And I've seen many ratchet fights. I've looked at them, and I study us. I study human nature. But I kick it back in a way where you understand where I'm coming from. Because when you do what I do, and I'm into human nature, I'm not just into hits. Me and Mrs. SCURV were speaking about that earlier. She says, man, your videos. And I said, yeah, I know that. I know I'm shadow banned, but the bottom line, I'm not going to change who I am. I'm a rock with the community that I have here with me. I'm not looking to, I got to change now because I have to go. No. Stay who you are, because all fashions come around. You see what I mean? Whatever's in fashion now, it may disappear. It may go for the fads, but the classic look will always come around. So the classic me, I'm going to be me. I'm not going to chase something around that doesn't exist. Just be yourself and talk, and we could vibe that way. It's all about really vibing on that real level. But he was iconic in that respect, and he rode with it. It made him money. So really and truly, let me just take a look at the chat room here. Yes, Master Glam. He said, hell yeah, Jerry, let the world know about our issues. Yes. Black Travel Blog. Or Black Travel Brogy 89. I'm sorry. I thought it was blog. Yeah. Thank you. Let me see. Riri. 9 out of 10 Lancer probably was planned into the future. The show lasted forever. You're right. You know, it's just a matter of how far back, because this social media thing, this was just not done when it was done. Like, it was decided by many people. They tell us who the owners of the platforms are and this and that, whatever, but they planned that. You're right. It's just a matter of how far back. Was it back as far as the 90s? I mean, we had the internet, we had message boards, there's websites, there's where's that old forum? Lipstick Alley. Lipstick Alley is one of them old ones from the 90s. Yeah, Lipstick Alley, like alleyway, Lipstick Alley, .com. Go there. It's still set up in a very basic way. It's not, with all the frills and stuff. It looks kind of dated, but that's the flavor of it, because when as we grow on social media, and as the audience grows, the audience can grow away from certain things. So you can't always look to chase something. Why, I may add different graphics or whatever, but what it is, I am who I am, and if you like what's here, you like what's here. I can't have a pizza shop and make good pizza and be mad to the people who go to eat Chinese food, because that's a whole different thing than what I do. But yeah, there's a possibility of that, a strong possibility. But that's like a social experiment. They saw how people flocked to watch the show, and he kept himself innocent. He didn't sway left or right. He just presented people. He had his little bodyguards, his bouncers there to make sure nobody got hurt or beat up on each other. But there was a certain element of that also. They would allow it, but for so long. They didn't really jump down and hold them down in a way. They let them go sometime, or just didn't jump so fast so you can see a few blows here and there, And for some reason, I would always ask myself, why did we gravitate toward that like that? Why? I mean, okay, you're in elementary school. Come on, you'll remember elementary school, junior high school, middle school. And two girls are fighting, and the guys are not breaking it up. They weren't breaking it up. Why? Because they wanted to see if the titty popped out. They wanted to see a titty in the fight. That's the way it was. And those are the fights that, with women, and you're young, I never hung around for those things. So really, I just felt, even then, I'm not painting myself as being no goody two shoe, because I wasn't no goody two shoe at all. But I just felt bad. Break it up, if anything else. There's one or two fights that broke up that I saw, but the crowds were around these people so much you couldn't even get to them. And this is from young. Because to what end? I just felt really bad about that. I saw a couple of titty pop out fights, and you get your little thrill, but you feel bad at the end of the day. Some people don't feel bad at the end of the day. And that's why they were hooked on Jerry Springer, because so many of us, and I'll say, had our own little skeletons in the closet, and it felt good to see the skeletons in other people's closets through these, situations, Let me see. And that's the same from Maury. Yeah, he was also exploiting the hell out of us. Exactly, Oyala. Exactly. SK Chandler, welcome on in. Indigo King, welcome on in. Christopher Moore. Let me see. If I missed anybody, please, understand I'm running my mouth, and, the chat room was scrolling on up and everything. Oh, you remember Lipstick Alley? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Come on now. You had to be young looking at that. Oh, there's nothing bad about it. They're just saying, if you remember that, it's still around too. It's still around. Lipstick Alley, yeah. That's for the last time I checked. And that particular, format is easy to keep up because it's very simple. It's not complicated, Mixed genre phase. Welcome on in. Yes, she is here. Welcome on in. Hope Rice, the only Rice I F's with. She's here. I'm glad you're here. But we really got all the superstars here. Yeah. Okay, let me see what else we were saying. Okay, let me just finish running my mouth a little bit. But yeah, he was the pre-social media. Yeah, I'll roll with that, Riri. He was that before it came, and it set us up. It could have been an experiment also. Like, let's see how people eat this stuff up before we take it to the next level. Because these folks, they don't do anything unless they know exactly how it's going to work out. And we're big guinea pigs giving away our business, giving the reaction that they want. And they say, oh, we can make money off of this, because really and truly, we don't really think about it. But social media, man, generates a lot of money. And we give them the content to help them generate the money. And I'm speaking about when we put ourselves out there like that, you know. And I remember I worked on the People's Court TV show, crossing over with John Edwards. We did security there, and we worked on the People's Court, right? Harvey Levin. And I worked downstairs where Harvey was videotaping the street scenes, the street shots, and you had the court scenes and everything. They weren't together. It wasn't simultaneous. It wasn't like, yeah, the way they say it, let's go down, let's go down downtown or downstairs to see what Harvey's, doing on the street. No, I was there, worked there for about 2 years, whatever. And they had a big ass TV out there, right? And they had it at the tourist center, which was on, let me see if I can get it right. So was it 46th or 47th Street? Right there on 7th Avenue, because 7th Avenue intersects with Broadway, and they have that big ticket center in the middle island, which is white with the red letters, tickets. You can buy tickets to any show or any performance that you wanted. So it was right there. So we were always under that big the marquee. It came out a little bit. They turned it into a tourist center, but it used to be a movie theater. So even if it rained, we were all right. But we were in the lobby there to the side. We still had room for people to walk by. And I believe it still might be going on that way. They may have moved somewhere else. When I first started working for them, it was at the Manhattan Mall on 33rd, is it 33rd, 32nd? On 6th Avenue. Pretty nice mall. But they went to another location there, which to me was better, So you'd have a couple young ladies out there, and they did it on purpose, pretty shapely, very engaging. Would you like to be on the People's Court TV show? Would you like to be on the People's Court TV show? The guys are not going to say no. You didn't have to go inside anywhere. You just had to walk over there where they had the setup. And you had the guy who was, doing the color coordinating. They were doing everything on the spot. You had the camera in there. And I got to know all, and it was nice, But Harvey would come out after they would play like a 15-minute segment. It might be 10, but the commercials, it made more. And then he'd come out and say, what do you think about the case? You all know the drill if you watch that show. And we would stay out of the way of the camera. But don't be surprised with some old episodes that came out around. They came out around 2001, even though I left New York early 2001. A lot of those latter episodes were broadcast in the summer of 2001. So if they didn't have too many people out there because of the weather, if it was freezing out there, we were out there from early morning. You didn't have tourists walking around looking to stand around in bad weather. They would have us take off our earpiece. There might have been 3 or 4 bodyguards around them, and I was one of them. And of course, I was always the shortest one. The other guys are tall and bigger and stuff, but I'm a little quicker, and I know what to do in a crowd. Little hidden skills people don't know about. But yeah, they would tell us basically what to say to give a well-rounded thing. It's so manufactured, it's so engineered. We had on the boots and the security with the big black, thick outfits and gloves on, like all of us wanted to fight. And so he had us take the gloves off. And a couple of episodes, of course, they got caught in the background, which that's going to happen when they swing the camera around. But with that being said, they tell us pretty much use your own words, but you're pro this and this other person's con this, whatever. And so it's out there. I saw a couple of them, but now on YouTube, I don't know, like it's so long ago. Like, how do I search all of those episodes? One day, if they're ever set up in a way where on a chronological level, you can go through them, I'm going to find it. You'll see. I'm really interested in seeing that. It'll bring back memories. So I got stories about those times too. People walking by and throwing bottles and, you know, certain things you couldn't do. They ran down the street. You couldn't chase them because now you left where you are. As long as there was no injury, that if there was an injury, which there weren't, you'd have to hold them down until the police come, you know. So I was always on the edge like that. And I forgot about that phase of my life. But I tell you one thing, it's definitely a manufactured thing. People talk about the Illuminati and all of this stuff, right? Yeah, I just looked over at the chat room because when I look at the chat room, it throws me off. So I just, scripted. You're right, Hope Rice. Yes, Had Not and Sons, welcome on in. Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. Delp M Dog. Let me see here. What is he saying? Not a person alive or dead that don't have skin. Oh, exactly, Delp. We all got, look, a lot of y'all know my skeletons. You know, I tell it. And ain't nobody gonna come back and say, Lance did this. I mean, I'll tell you everything. Look, there's skeletons I got that I forgot about. There's so many. What did Murphy say? Graveyards. Some people got graveyards. I'm one of them. You know what I mean? But I wasn't some vicious bad person. You know, it was always consenting adults. Okay. But yeah, I got some stories. Got a couple of things that I'm gonna save for my book. I'm not gonna tell them parts. You'd be like, wait a second, my God, you get to read this part. But yeah, you know, that time working with them. And when Harvey Levin would get a visitor, because we were basically in the street. Imagine being in front of a movie theater, you know, which it used to be, but it had all kind of information for tourists. And on the inside, it was opened up and you can get any kind of information you wanted. And it was a funny time because the computer age was there, but it wasn't like it is now. So there are a lot of pamphlets, a lot of people who were speaking to people face to face to get the information. So Harvey had one of the little closets on the inside. Like you'd walk down the hallway, that long hall, like if you go into a movie theater, you walk down that long hall. And to the right, there was a small little storage room where he would change his jackets because, see, here's the thing. You know, if we weren't going to go out there every day and shoot, then he may do 5, 6, maybe sometimes 10. It depends. Maybe we're out there 5 days a week, 3 days a week. The weather was coming bad, or we're going to cut it back to 2 days because there's a blizzard coming. You know, I got to learn a lot on how the back end of television and those things worked, being there and being able to observe. I'm a very observant person. So I do have to say, you know, that those people, just like they say, you people, I'm going to say those people, they put in some work. Let me just tell you some little tidbits of what I know. Like if Harvey Levin was in Los Angeles and it's Monday, but he had to shoot Tuesday because there were other things for us to do upstairs in the studio on the People's Court that if he wasn't around shooting on the street scene, but we had that was priority for us, right? It was safer up top. You had the bailiff and everything there, but there were other people like me who might have been summoned to hang out behind everything that you saw there. Also, when you saw the court, that wasn't a real court. That was a makeshift court. If you walk out those doors, you'll see nothing but 2x4s and sheetrock and everything. It's like, wait a second, you know? So that illusion there, it looked real good on camera, but it wasn't a real courthouse. It was just like this big loft where you set up the walls and everything and the chairs on the inside and the lighting on the inside, but the ceilings were really high. You know what I mean? But yeah, being there and seeing people show up there. You might have been some old 75-year-old chubby white man, wrinkled down, but you look at his glasses, his spectacles, you're like, wait a second, those are some expensive things there. He might have a watch on that he forgot to take off that you're like, wait a second, he's got these jeans on loose, real holy, but look at that watch. Not the kind where you some Negro trying to bling bling, some conservative watch that was so, like, I'm not materialistic, but I look at the indicators because when I worked at Bajan Pakzad, that's a designer that died. He was one of the top designers in the world. Yo, I'm telling you, I had a life so far that was so varied and so, you know, when I worked there and he was 2 doors down from Trump Towers and Bajan Pakzad, you only could go into his store, his boutique, if you had an appointment. You couldn't walk and just come on in. The doors were locked and they had us like security, but we were dressed in tuxedos. That was back in, was it 84, 85? 84 and 85, yeah. The tension in that place. Oh my God, I got to tell you all about that another time. But he died, and he was a little punk. Short man's complex, bossy, everything like that. Had everybody scared. I cussed him out and left. One day he got on my nerves. And I lasted a long time because the turnover was like really crazy there. But I met George Benson there. I met a lot of Texas oil dudes that you don't know their name because they're not like out there like that, but they're worth millions and billions, these guys. And they take time in the store. I'm getting all off the subject, but it's like I rub elbows with a lot of prestigious people being just a regular guy, but I learn from those worlds, and that's why I can go into any world and blend in and righteously shape shift. I don't shape shift like some person scheming on somebody, but I know how to carry myself and go undetected if I have a certain mission in those worlds. And in New York City and traveling those places really taught me a whole lot. But Harvey you always had to shadow Harvey. You couldn't, like, he couldn't be somewhere 20 feet off by himself. But because of the narrow hallway, you know, when he'd say, "Come on, Lance," or something, he would go to change and he'd go in that little closet. I wouldn't go in there with him because, you know, homeboy was fuddy-duddy. And he's a Jewish man too. So the Jewish mafia and the Jewish gay thing in Hollywood is real. And I knew it from back then, but I didn't know the depths of it because once social media came around and you had a lot of conspiracy theory videos come out, but the meat of it was bullseye most of the time. And when I thought back to those days and what I was exposed to, I said, whoa, that is a tight-knit, I'll say, murderous syndicate. Hollywood, I don't know certain things, but it is close-knit and it is murderous because there's so much money in that thing. You know what I mean? So much money in that thing. And I told you my family connection to that world. I'm not going to say it too many times out here. You know, I can't even talk with her as much. Not that she said I can't talk with her, but because of her positioning. You know, as one of the top entertainment lawyers in the country and in the world. The way I talk, I'm not going to be nobody's sacrifice. So I love you from where you are. I watch you all the time. I see you. I see what you're doing. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to be that uncle that, you know, mysteriously dies and you have to have sacrifice. It's like that. I can't say I heard it, but hearing what I hear in the present day and looking back on things that kind of raise red flags. Now, going back to that dude that was some Hollywood bigwig, that when I got back with the crowd in the front, some of the girls, "Oh, do you know who that is? Oh my God, he's the writer and producer of the so-and-so. And he's been around since the late 60s and whatever." And when Harvey and them guys, not just that one guy, they knew he was in town, they would drop by in passing. Not because the guy had a limousine or a driver pulled over there, but, you know, you see these guys come out of these cars and take a break with Harvey and talk with him. The way they traveled, the way they moved. And then I'm not sitting here kissing nobody's behind. I'm just saying what it was. It impressed me and it didn't impress me because I know how the proper context to put it into. But when you see how this evil, wicked world works, how money is nothing for them, and they're going to make sure to keep their money going, of course, murder and the sabotage and the character assassination is always there. So I remember one time this one guy walked up to Harvey and they kind of walked off. And I was about maybe, I'd say, about 15 feet away from him because it was in the hallway. But I moved up to like 10 feet away and he's like, "Lance, can we need a little more privacy, Lance. So if you can just back off a little bit." So he was polite, but he was kind of bossy. But he I can tell he's like, "I don't know about this guy," because I'm always serious. I'd laugh and talk with the staff and everything, but with him, I never tried to kiss up to him. A lot of people, "Oh, Harvey, you're looking good, Harvey. You've been working out. Oh, Harvey, you must have went to the Caribbean because you got the tan." I'm like, "Yo, I'm there to make my money, man. I'm not there to kiss nobody's behind." I acted professional, but I wasn't into that. Oh, Lance, don't you think Harvey is? I said, yeah, he's all right. He's all right. He's good. You know, whatever. And I'm not saying at the front, because if I was an ass kisser, I could have went and made connections and been utilized certain ways and stuff. But that right at that time, I was getting ready to leave and came to Florida. You know what I mean? What would have life have been for me if I stayed working for this particular security company and working with these various entertainment, you know, because you can be a nobody and work your way into stuff. Yes, he was once security for the People's Court TV show, and he worked his way around and got friendly with so-and-so, and then he gave him a bit piece on the show, and it went viral, and they wanted to, you know, you just never know how things are. That wasn't my goal. I didn't know how the future was going to be, but I'm just telling you how it is. So he had various people that would come around, and they would always try to dress down. Because you got to remember, a lot of these people, unless they want to, they don't touch the streets. They don't touch the streets. Now, when I drove a Lincoln Town car for a limousine company that basically dealt with people in the entertainment field, there was one, I forgot that name, but the other one was Empire. I drove for two companies, right? This is back in '98. Empire was just straight rich folk. I'm telling you all this for a reason. They jump in the back of your vehicle. You know, you got to wash your vehicle every day and clean the inside every day, and you better be suited down and groomed. That's another reason why, like for me, I just always have to groom myself. Keep like, okay, I can show my face now, and there's nothing wrong with me, but I didn't shave yet today, and you wouldn't even see it. But to me, I have to present perfection. I'm not perfect, y'all. I'm just saying I have to be groomed whenever I show myself, even if I'm sweating like a pig. So when you're in these industries, your look is very important. Even the fact that I wasn't a fat slob driver, there were people who would request at the company, I like him. He's fit. I need him to drive. You know, you don't talk to them unless they talk to you. You don't play the radio unless they ask you. This ain't no driving Miss Daisy stuff. That's across the board for all colors of people who are in that industry. So looking back, it's like, man, I was exposed to a lot, even from young with my father. So that's why I talk the way I do. So I was like, man, you talking to, some people think like, oh, he lying. It's just the way it is. You run into people, you have a certain look, you know, carry yourself a certain way, you know, and they have those folks always had a sense of safety around me. They like me. It's like, I mean, they might have been looking at me like the big protector nigga. You know what I mean? Come and hang out with us. We get a bodyguard at the same time. Maybe that's what, I didn't detect that. A lot of those folks were sincerely a certain way. You know, I'm going to ramble on that for a while because I'm going to still talk about the other things. But I remember when from the same company that had me employed at the People's Court TV show, the owner of it was a young lady named Charlotte Hitchcock. I'm giving you names as proof if y'all want to Google this stuff. And there are a bunch of Charlotte Hitchcocks. It was a black woman. Maybe she was in her, at that time, because you know, black don't crack, late 30s, mid 30s, maybe early 40s. But she was a real professional. And she ran the company, oh God, I forgot her name, with the female bailiff on Judge Judy's show, right? Because all of these shows are connected. And she hired nothing but cops, but I didn't beg her for the job. I just, you know, I got a hookup to be interviewed and I went. And she took me on the spot because she knew I knew how to carry myself. I wasn't a wannabe cop, but your look, your speech, your ability to communicate, how you look when you dress, just the whole, I'm with all of that. Y'all don't know that side of me, but I'm with all of that. So I was working it in the evening. In the morning, I would do the People's Court thing. In the evening, I was over by Crossing Over with John Edwards. That was on West 55th Street, I believe, off of 10th Avenue, between 10th and 11th Avenue. That's where the producers were, right? And I'm going to rant a little bit now more, you know? We're talking about Jerry Springer, but that world and how I kind of tasted it. Let me take a peek at the chat room because I know that, let me see. I don't want to miss any good comments, but yeah, I'll catch up on. Yeah, Judge Judy is the worst. She's fragile. Oh my God. It was in 2020 at a Christmas party, corporate thing, and her husband was over the People's Court, Judge Scheinlin, right? I don't know if you remember him. We're going back a few, right? And she had Judge Judy, but they were all like under the same umbrella. So when everybody from the People's Court had that party, and it was some swanky place, and I didn't really want to go. I didn't really want to go. But they had other black people there. So it wasn't like just one or two black folks. I mean, it was like 1/3 of it was black. And the sister who was working, I forgot her name, she was like, Lance, I know you don't want to come there because you're going to have all these corporate white folks. And I said, yeah, I don't want to go up in I don't want to go up in that. I'm not pursuing that. You just give me my money. They were paying good. Give me my money. Let me get out of here. Because I know this whole thing is fake. I knew from back then that, you know, like the people say, oh, man, that ain't shit. I knew that wasn't shit. It wasn't. I'm not going to be some big black buck Negro looking at somebody's boots for another position or just put me in or yes, laughing like a no. I laugh the way I laugh. I'm not going to change nothing about me. But you know what? With them folks like that, I'm really and truly, deep down, I'm not going to say they respect you, but they're going to show you more respect up front, even if deep down they don't respect you because they know you're not going to take their shit. So I came over to the party and I sat down and ate for a while. And then they started bumping some music because it was like a little club up there. It was it was like a loft and it was nice. And it was set up for that. So one of the girls grabbed my hand. She's like, come on, let's dance. One of the sisters. I keep forgetting her name. And another one, I remember her email address, and I got to just email her, see if she can, you know, come on the show or something like that. And that was a long time ago, but I made sure they remembered me. So they pulled me up on the dance floor, this young lady. So 3 of the girls, you know, because they never saw me in that mode. Like, oh, Lance is dancing? So I'm sitting there dancing. I'm like, I don't want to sweat too much. I got this suit on and everything. And they were, you know, safely, you know, bending over and, you know, rubbing their booties on me. But it was comical. It wasn't like I'm really trying to get with these girls. And I didn't act like that. I kind of half ignored them while laughing because I knew it wasn't going to last long. So I see this other slim person and they took pictures of it. I had Polaroids, but somewhere there's out there pictures of me. And I turned around and I'm looking around. This woman is rubbing her booty on me. Would you believe it was Judge Judy? Judge Judy got up out of her chair and came over to me and started, you know, so I didn't know because there was so many women around me dancing. So she really pushed her stuff up on me. So I grabbed her hips and I'm dancing and I looked, I said, oh shit. I took my hands off her. I was embarrassed. I don't want to be photographed like that. But they got some photographs of Judge Judy bent over, giving me the booty, and I'm dancing. And I have to say it that way. You know, hopefully those were Polaroids and disintegrated after a while or ended up in somebody's old photo album where they don't care, but they're out there. So I danced a little more, and she didn't stay long. She went back because she's frail. I don't know how she was frail back then in the year 2000. This is 23 years later, and she's still out there. God, dog. No. She one of them ladies that back then, if she slipped and fell, she's going to break her hips and can't walk no more. She like an old leaf that was dead on the tree, blowing in the wind that you knew was dead. She was alive, but she's so sucked in. The makeup makes her look fuller than what she is. She was so sucked in like a skull. Wrinkled face and everything. They get them softening lenses, put the makeup on you. Even the other one, Judge Mulan, who was there most of the time after Shineland left, and they brought us up to introduce her to me. Well, brought me up because I was the only one there. It wasn't like a work day, but they wanted me up there to help out with some things. And one of the girls said, oh, Lance, you want to go meet Judge Mulan? I said, sure. She's the Cuban lady, the Cuban judge. And that was when she first got on. And so they introduced me. She said, oh, Lance, you know, now you get to see what I really look like. But she didn't look bad. She looked pretty much the way she looked. And she had like the makeup job and Master Glam, I know you know all about that. It's artistry. They had her hair up like in Bantu knots, you know, what is the other way they call it in Jamaica? But just to keep it up out of her face while they worked on her face. And so we had some small talk or whatnot. I was, oh, nice meeting you and everything. Boy, I wish I had a camera, like, you know, a video camera and whatnot, like back in those days. But I met her and everything, but I met her once like that. I saw her more times than I actually shared private space with her. But going back to how that overall world is, you got to remember there is too much money in it. And the power brokers that pretty much I would assume the world doesn't know, like for every Harvey Levin that you know, he knows the real people. I would like to know what he knows. I don't mean I really want to know it, but I would love to know in that Hollywood inner circle and the decadence and the murders and the things that they say that we hear, but we don't know for sure if it's real or not. I would love to just pick his brain, not where he would tell me, but invade his brain and really see what's going on. Because to me, a man like that and other people who are visible in the media that know so much, because he knows a lot and they got a lot of dirt on people. And if you ask me, especially with TMZ, that he started, Third Mile Zone, they to me, they're like assassins that come after you because they know stuff ahead of time. But then when stuff break off, they're right there. The only thing that I wonder, because they never really got to the whole Jamie Foxx thing. They probably said it, but did they dig deep? If something really happens on a negative level with, you know, the medical condition of Jamie Foxx, will they then spill the beans? There's no way something that juicy is going to be around. And I say juicy, not because a brother's downfall medically is juicy. No, the way they look at it. So let me straighten it out from now. It's not juicy for me. I haven't even done a show on it, went after him or speculated, because that's his business. Now, if something comes out, I will speak about it in the context of how it fits into the world, but I ain't going to do no brother bad like that. Unless some of them deserve it, like they putting their hands on the women or the pedophiles or whatever, doing something immoral. But with Harvey Levin, and you could tell, see, I spent a lot of time around that man, and he's not like jolly and bubbly. When you see him smile on the shows, on TMZ or whatever, it's strained. See, on a spiritual level, I can pick up things about these people. It's strained. Sometimes it's almost like he's not having fun, because he's got to be owned also. See, and it's not a happy thing. Now, you know, some people, they're very intense. People that don't know me, that see me walk down the street, they say, man, you look so mean. It's because I'm pretty much 95% of the time deep in thought. I could be cracking up on the inside, but I'm deep in thought. With him, he has a look really of somebody who, like a gangster who saw many people, or a mobster who saw many people whacked, killed and blood flying on his shirt type thing. You know what I mean? And you get a hardness about you. I was walking down late one night on 2nd Avenue, right across the street from my old high school of art and design, which is on 57th Street and 2nd Avenue. I don't know what I was doing. It was probably like 19 or 20 or something like that. I know I was working out and I was competing and everything. And I was walking down fast. It was starting to drizzle. I wanted to get to the train. I was getting ready to get up out of here. So that was in Manhattan. I'm walking down the street fast and I see this restaurant that, you know, I can't even say the name. Probably changed names 15 times since back then. And this was back in the 80s. And a bunch of guys out there with long, you know, the long coats, you know, 3/4 and the long ones down to the ankle. And you knew this was a money thing. And they had a bunch of limousines out there. But that kind of scene is nothing big in Manhattan, you know, around those areas in those times. Even still till now, you get used to it. So I'm walking through the crowd and I bumped into this guy because he was about to move my way and I'm going straight and I didn't see him. And so we bumped each other hard. And I was about to say something to this guy, right? I mean, it was in me. Like move out the way or whatever, you know, what's wrong with you, man? You know, type thing. And the affluence didn't bother me. You know, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. I'm gonna call your name. And so when we bumped into each other, I put my hands up. My hands weren't holding his arms, but it's like in front of me, touching for a second, and we looked at each other. You know who that was? John Damn Gotti. But that wasn't like odd because he lived elsewhere, but he also lived in Howard Beach, which is not far from where I lived. So people would always have John Gotti sightings. Even his son, right, used to train partially at this gym that I used to train in when I started out on 131st and Liberty Avenue, Powerhouse Gym. But I had already left that gym and went to Zen's gym. But he was known every now and then, like if all the other places closed and he wanted to get a workout, but he's in the same shit too, right? So, man, I'm not scared of the white man, but it's like them kind of people there, shoot, they will. And I know I'm just nothing to him, but I looked over at the limousine and the window came down a little bit, like, let's see if this is some trouble here. I already knew you ain't getting me. You ain't getting me and throwing me in the river, nothing like that. So I got him up out of there. You got to be smart. What am I going to do? Stand there and punch John Gotti in the face? I'm dead. It's crazy. But, you know, that world there is a lot more to it than meets the eye. A lot of people would come by there and visit Harvey and whisper with him or whatever. And there wasn't like a pleasant thing about it. Like, hey, man, how you doing? Another thing, like I said before, if he was there, if he was in Los Angeles on a Monday and had to be at Los Angeles on the Wednesday, they'd fly him in. He would fly in early Tuesday, do some shooting, and run to the limousine waiting for him to take him over to Newark Airport. Like they take planes and they travel all over the world like most of us take public transportation. You see what I mean? So their outlook is so different. And the money flowing, it's nothing for them. Oh, let's take a flight here. And you think he's going to be in regular, you know, he's going to be in first class. So it's a whole different world. So you think they're going to let anybody or have a high moral standing? No, this is cutthroat. This is money. They're going to get their money, and there's other people behind them that you better be on top of this. Like we speak about, you know, before I've spoken about it with Don Lemon, Anderson Cooper, like on CNN, and just like Tucker Carlson, who just got, you know, fired. I thought he walked out, but he just got fired. These people are they heavily invest in these people to be the face of that network. So you just can't say what you want to do and what you don't want to do. They own your ass. They choose you to have a certain persona. You better live that. You better be that. You understand? So it's rough. When do you get a day off? They own you. Remember, you're there for years. Your face is on billboards and ads. You can't be out at the titty bar or getting drunk and getting in fights and different things, and they put this money in you, because when people see you, if it's CNN, for example, if they see you, you are CNN. That's the first thing that's going to come up in people's mouths. Yeah, Don Lemon was out there, whatever. And we would never catch him or Anderson Cooper in a titty bar because they like men. And that was part of it too. That whole liberal mindset where, you know, they got Don Lemon, he's a black man and he's gay. So that makes them a little more friendly to the gay population and black people, you know, and that mentality, and those who are in the Democratic Party. That party is just as bad for us as all the politics. Politicians are all in bed with each other, but we get fooled. And they train us how to think. Because we see a face that looks like ours, we go for it. But, you know, Don Lemon was a little rebellious, and I heard he was hard to work with on the real. It's coming out now. But you under so much stress, of course you're going to snap sometime. Could you imagine? You better take care of yourself. Anderson, you know, the flu is going around. You need to stay inside. They start treating you and give you medicine before it hits you. You know what I mean? I know singers, like my mother used to always have to keep her throat covered, you know, and make sure if she had some kind of concert or something on the weekend to do. It's a whole lot of things you better think about. You can't stay up all night. You can sometime if it's designated by them, and come in tired and look. No, you better be fresh. You better be alert. Be able to read what they give you to read, to spit it out in your own words, and don't make a mistake. See, people want this so much. Oh, I want to do this when I grow up. Do you really? You see the icing, but you don't see the cake. And like I said before, you can take chocolate icing and spread it over feces and call it chocolate cake, but you'll find out what it is after you take the first bite. And that's what the media is. It's a lot of shit with chocolate icing on it. You smell the icing and put your finger on it. And, this icing is good. Let me take a piece of this cake home. Or the whole cake. And you get home and get your little almond milk or your milk if you're into the dairy, and you take a bite, mouth full of shit. Because I've seen people cry when they were let go. Because it wasn't just about a job or money. They can always get that back in those days, but it was about being in that industry and hoping to climb up. And see, there are a lot of people who may have done jobs in those industries, but they were really actors or actresses that were out of work. And so, well, you're going to take something like that because, you network with people. And here's the last one on that kind of string before I move on to the next one. When I was at the People's Court TV show, which was usually after, not the People's Court, but John Edwards, crossing over with John Edwards. I'm getting zipped up here. That was after the People's Court TV show. So we'd break out maybe like about 4 or 5. I didn't have to be there until 6, crossing over with John Edwards. I know many of you probably won't even remember that. If you Google it, it should still be out there. Let me just see. I know the show's not there no more. I know I would have heard about it, right? Crossing over John Edwards. I'm going to Google it, and whenever I find, I'm going to drop it in the room. Okay. Amazon official site. I want to see the TV series, 2001 to 2004. But I was there in 2000. So, okay, toward the end, right. They were doing episodes that weren't going to air until. Okay, let me see. Which one should I the Wikipedia. I'll do the Wikipedia. And I'll pull that up. Okay, yeah, that's him here. Let me get this link. Just for the sake of the people who watch it in the future, who may not be in the chat room. Okay, here we go. Boom, there it is. Don Lemon fruitcake. That's right. You can play by their rules all day and it won't matter. It does not matter. Yeah, they were the fruitiest of the fruit. So they had the fruitcake advantage because their anus was invaded. That's just me saying it. that wasn't an issue, right? But it seemed like in that world, when you're already gay, like you may get a pass for a while, but your sphincter muscles are not as delicious to those who want to devour them unless you're a straight male and that's something you don't do. They like to violate. And I'm quite sure that's a big part of it. But yeah, I dropped that link there. So yeah, so working on that show, crossing over with John Edwards, that was an evening thing. And all I had to do was sit by the desk like a receptionist because the real receptionist were left already. But the reason why they wanted me there, and there was another brother, he was a detective. He was there with me. We had the same first name, but I won't say his last name out of respect because, who knows? I wouldn't put him out there like that. But that was, again, back in 2000 to 2001, right before I left to come down to Florida. So that was the 4th floor of this particular building. Like I said, it was on 55th Street between 10th and 11th Avenue. And the studio was on 55th on 10th Avenue. Well, why couldn't the studio be the same address with the offices? No, they couldn't do that because here's what a lot of folks don't know. People talk about Christianity. Oh, Christianity is so good. They got more death threats for fringe Christian groups, religious groups, because John Edwards, he was saying to people that he can talk to people from the other side who passed on. And that was a show about that. And it wasn't like certain Christians say, oh, that's not real. He's talking to demons. There were people who were like, you know, I mean, radical men, radical people, some people who were arrested, but it was kept on the low. They didn't let it out because they didn't want other people to see that, and they all do a duplicate thing. So they had to keep where the producers were separate, and they never said downstairs where they have the names. They're just so-and-so productions. Had nothing, no relation to John Edwards, but it was. And they didn't like it because they had to always walk up and down the block. It's like, this sucks. They should have it a little closer. If they were a producer and had to go to the studio or any other position. But here's the thing with networks and television, and you'll always see them all clumped up together, kind of, right? If you go by CBS or NBC or ABC, they're always a few blocks away from each other. And I would assume that it's like that in other cities in the United States. And I always wondered why. Well, here's the reason why. The cameramen, production people, usually had more gigs with different media people. Like, say, for example, and I know I'm all over the place. I just want to kind of explain these things because we're just talking about it right now. But I remember being at there was a black judge. His show bombed. Curtis Court. Let me see if even Curtis Court sucks so much. I don't even think that Google would latch onto it. Let's see. Curtis Court reality show. Yeah, there it is. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see here. I'm gonna pull Wikipedia up on that. And there's stuff on YouTube because I just saw it. Dang, Wikipedia don't miss a beat. And like I said, I'll be back in the chat room. I'm just kind of focused on what I'm saying. Jack Griffin, Kevin Clark. Oh, everybody's here. We gonna talk. But yeah, Curtis Court bombed. It really bombed. It didn't last long. But yeah, I remember speaking to, and these are interesting things that most people don't think about. You know, I mean, nobody here is stupid, but I have a saying that we're all a little bit stupid in something. That's not a put down. That's just to say that there are different areas of life and different careers and different things that we may not know about. Now, there's another little tidbit I wanted to share before I carry on. When I remember I was at Curtis Court, right? And I'm by the cameraman, and they all had a break. And they all seem to know each other. I'm like, wow. Now, I wasn't saying anything. You know, I was in the conversation with these guys. But since they're talking their industry, what did I have to offer? So it was like precious information, because information from me, whether it's somebody in the entertainment industry or law enforcement or whatever, I love information. I love real inside information. It makes me better. It gives me the ability to have a conversation with anybody. Not that I know everything about everything, but I wouldn't be deficient when it's time for me to open my mouth if I open my mouth. I like to surprise people when I open my mouth, like, wow, how did you know that type stuff? So I'm listening to these cameramen, and these are these big behind cameras look like cannons. And then you roll them around, and they got the little thing you can put your foot on, and they pull them back. And so we're kind of hanging out back there. I was eating something. They didn't want us to take like a long lunch, so they catered, you know, and they catered often too. But sometimes they didn't. They let you know we're going to give you a longer break. So I'm killing something. I remember I had some sushi that they catered sushi. I'm like, what? I'm going to kill all of this food. Take it home. We don't want anybody here want it. We're all leaving now. Yeah, you want a garbage bag full of sushi. I don't care if it got mushed up or whatever. It's going to get mushed up in my stomach, right? So these cameramen were speaking about how tired they were. And I was like, whoa. And they were mentioning different guys who weren't there who were cameramen by name. Well, you know, Brad, he really burnt out. He was on the edge of a nervous breakdown. And I'm like, why would a cameraman? Was it something personal? I didn't ask, right? I'm just listening. But they know I'm right there listening. Yeah, you know, the schedule's rough because, you know, when we do elections. I'm like, what do you mean when they do elections? Well, there's only so many cameramen in the United States that are cleared by different agencies with their background, with who they are. You're not just going to be a cameraman and say, oh, let me just get a job here and they'll let me in. And when it comes time to do the elections, That is the roughest time for these guys because there's only a limited amount of cameramen who have the clearance by the U.S. government. I don't know which, how it works all the way to detail it, but they got clearance. So say, for example, they were 20 or 15 or 50. I don't know. But every cameraman in the United States cannot replace those who have, and you don't have to have that status. It's something that you chose to do. But when you do an election and they call you in and you have to, Bill Clinton or Bush or Obama or Trump or whoever, right? You have clearance. And lots of times, because it's a limited pool of cameramen, you get to kind of know these guys. Now you say, hey, Trump, let's go do lunch. But they see you in Washington. They see you in New York. They see you in Miami. They see you here and there. It's the same guy. Say, hey, guy, aren't you tired? You're working a whole lot. You're talking to these people off camera. And so basically, I heard them speaking how after the presidential election, or if they had to go around Congress, anything as far as the government is concerned, they're in high demand. But here's the catch. When you have that status and they call you, you cannot say, no, I don't feel like doing it. No. You will lose your status because you're actually getting money because of this. So they own your ass. And there's no family life that you can bring people with you, right? But that's not on their dime. If they tell you, if you're up in New Hampshire somewhere, right? And you do get breaks now, but there are times when something breaks out, some breaking news or something controversial or something, anytime they need you, or say, for example, they have somebody designated for tomorrow to go on a certain program or to interview a certain politician, and they really have a problem, like they may get seizures or fall and break their leg or whatever, that's legit. They're not going to fire you for that, but they're going to call you. Here you are, spooned up with your wife in the bed, they gave you 3 days off because you're going to work 2 weeks straight, and you're enjoying yourself, and you better answer the phone too. You know what I mean? That's another thing. You better answer the phone. And you get a call, you finish doing your festivities, and you're all spooned up nice and warm. The penis is parked in the parking lot, spooning, happy, Hello, Brad. Yeah, what's going on? There's a flight leaving in 2 hours. There's a car that's going to be there in 15 minutes. Get ready. So you try to grab a shower within 15 minutes. You really don't have to, you have your stuff packed and ready, but you can get stuff where you are. You will eat. It may not be what you want to eat. They'll pay for everything, but you need to go down to cover for that guy that has the seizures or broke his legs. What kind of life? But here's a trade-off. Deeper into, and I'm not going to tell you everything they said. I have nothing to hide, but I'm just saying I'm not going to talk about this too long. Here's the thing. When they're there talking, they said, yeah, well, we did the elections back in 96 or whatever. And Bill, he went, and after that, he bought a really nice home. Cash. They are making money. I'm not sure if I think they pay you around the clock too, because once they have you in their clutches, they pay you. But they were saying they were operating lots of times. It would be a gift if they had 5 hours of sleep. Usually 3 to 4 hours of sleep for a stretch. Because they had to have backup there also. If they needed 4 cameramen, they just couldn't have 4 there. They might have 6, and you're waiting just in case somebody, because they cannot not have the show go on, right? And some of them cameras, everybody can't operate because they have to get trained on them. I guess that's on their own dime to keep up. So when you go there and you trained on something and you know your stuff now, but you got to rip. This is not some little video camera you get out of the electronics store or whatever. Because the guy let me push it across. Man, that thing was smooth like a car. It was heavy too, but it moved. It was crazy. But these are the worlds we don't see. We see the finished product of what's on TV, what's going on. but it's a whole different world that many of us are unaware of. And I'm just so happy to have been exposed to it. And there was something else I was going to say. Oh, the last thing I was going to say, how many of these entertainment news platforms and stuff, they're not too far from each other because, again, a lot of the staff work multiple times. And if it's not like you're exclusive to ABC, let's just make it simple. It's not just ABC. You're there as a cameraman and you're about to leave and something happens over at NBC and they need you, you're in that pool, or you might want to get extra money or whatever. You kind of got to go. Even when you're not cleared by the government, it's some little thing within you. You have to do it. You're getting paid so much good money. So that being said, in that same premise of being physically near each other, where I was on the 4th floor crossing over with John Edwards, and I met him one time. Didn't get a chance to shake his hand. I was about ready to leave. It was almost 11 o'clock, and he was up there with the producers. And he walked by. I was like, oh, how'd this guy know my name? Because I guess he said, we got a new guy. Because he wasn't up there since I was up there. He said, all right, good night, Lance. I said, oh, John, good night, good night. He walked up to the elevator, didn't miss a beat. The doors opened for him. The doors opened like 10 feet before he got there. It was empty. And he turned around with a smirk on his face and gave me a thumbs up. I gave him a thumbs up back like, you got some powers or something. And I wasn't kissing behind, but it was a funny moment because anybody that would have walked to that elevator, it looked spooky. It did, because the elevator didn't work like that. If nobody was on it, it was on the 1st floor and stayed there. Maybe somebody could have pushed the button or whatever, but I just saw it come straight up before he got there, from the 1st to the 2nd to the 3rd to the 4th. It didn't pause on the 3rd to the 2nd. So I was like, that's one of those moments because I noticed everything. But on the 3rd floor was the producers for Montel's show, right? And the accountants from there were friends with the accountants from John Edwards upstairs. They would all group up and go to lunch. So it wasn't like, you're on that show, we can't hang. Because lots of times the people, they were interchangeable. They were like, listen, you want to cover for me? One of the accountants, man, oh, you want to cover for me? Because I have to go Friday and Saturday, I'm not going to be around. Okay, just let whoever know who's in charge. So it was one big happy family. I'm not going to say it was happy. I also got a chance to hear how things worked, how they would furiously fight over the smallest detail that maybe John was planning on wearing something that had some fur on it. And the other producer said, no, you can't do that. Why? Because we have animal rights activists coming through and they're very aggressive. We don't want them coming to the show. Even though the show was going to be delayed, it wasn't live, but they didn't want that. So they watched every little thing he wore, certain things he just wouldn't say. I don't think he could say the word God. I think I heard that. He couldn't say that because that would piss people off that he's supposedly speaking to those who have transitioned. So you walk on eggshells in this world, in that world. It was very, very interesting. If I didn't leave New York and go down, I would have stayed, but not because I'm wanting to be a part of that, because I fit in quite well, even though I had no experience, no training with anything. We just did security, And because of the death threats that were made to the people in the staff of crossing over John Edwards, they wanted to get a big black buck to be a receptionist. Call it for what it is. A big protector nigga. He'll be so like even after everybody would get ready to go home. Some people would stay a little longer. I know that one of the accountants had a real bad coke problem, but they still kept her because she was good. But she was straight stealing a lot of petty cash. And they had to really reprimand her. But after they were all done with their work, 11 o'clock they're leaving. They've been there lots of times from early on. Come on, Lance, we're going to all grab some sushi. Come on, Lance, we're going to go out for a few drinks. I'm like, I don't really drink, but I'll come hang with you. Sometimes I would just want to come home and I'd go home. But we'd hang out sometimes till 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning. And I'm soaking in this, entertainment crew. And I heard a lot of things too. They would gossip. Oh, Lance, he's not going to say anything. Well, maybe I might say something 23 years from that point. I didn't know I'd be doing stuff like this. It was crazy, but yeah. You're right, Mick Genre. The news are all entertainment. It is. Because there are stories out there that are very important that we need to hear but they choose what's going to keep people clicking in on their channel, because the advertisers need to have as many butts in the seats. So it's not, let's be fair and let's talk about something nice that happened in the hood. Yeah, they cleared off some land and they built a nice garden, and no shootouts today. They can't say that stuff. They have to pander to the stereotypes. They have to keep you there from, it's really manufactured. This is why we need to, in our own neighborhoods, in our own community, we need to have our own little, whether it's a Facebook group or some kind of, we have a lot of elderly that want to keep up with things, but to know what's going on in the neighborhood, there's, burglars, getting in people's houses and scams that are going on. We need to have local stuff, not just the general YouTube and the general this that we go to, but people who are designated in that area locally, but there probably won't be so much support. I remember going to this, was it electronic shop or some store or something like that? And it was in Orlando. Oh God, what part was it? I'm seeing it in my mind. The bus that I drove to get there, I forgot that bus also. It wasn't the 13. It was one of those areas over there. It was a predominantly white area. It was pretty affluent. And I was in line, ready to pay for my stuff. And there was a big plastic jar with money in it. It didn't have any label on it that I can see, but I looked around and I saw it. And it was for this guy who, it said partially support so-and-so, right? So I asked the cashier, there was nobody behind me. I said, that jar of money, I said, what is that for? Because I didn't see ones and fives and a whole lot of cash. I saw 50s. I saw 100s. I didn't see any 20s. I didn't even see any cash. I mean, coins. I'm sorry. I saw hundreds and 50s. I think I saw 1 or 2 20s. And this was a big jug. It was full. And the guy said, there's a guy who is physically challenged. He's handicapped. Young white guy who was a computer whiz. And he repairs all of the computers of the people in that subdivision. It was a huge subdivision. I think it was 3 of them that were huge in the area, because you had phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. That was their way of helping him, even though he did get a check for his condition. But the condition was that no matter what was needed, you did the work free. Yes, they would have to pay for the chips or the parts or whatever to fix their computers. How many of us would do that? How many of us would do that? There's some older women who are retired, who are on a limited income, and they allotted a certain amount to help him out, even when there was nothing going on with their computers, right? I pledge this amount. Some people would be like, okay, I'm gonna always throw 100 in there, but I might throw 5 in there now. Who would do that? It'd be nice if we could do something like that. This is where we have to invest in our own communities and where we live hands-on. Because that guy, he loved doing what he did. 24 hours, he would do it. Just, he couldn't walk, or he can walk to a point, but he was mostly in a wheelchair. And that was his thing. So he did the work promptly. They kept him happy in the bank account. He would do little things. And sometimes when you were short, he would help you out of what was donated to him. How many of us would do that? Right? So, my God, talking an hour and 20 minutes on the first part. These parts gonna, you know what? Let me grab a little bit of water here. I need some water. I've been talking nonstop. Miss SCURV was off the phone. I don't hear her no more. She went to sleep. I'm gonna check on her real quick. So just give me a second. I'll be right back. Let me get some water and make some room for the water too.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget what you want me, and my brain wants you. I've been thinking of myself. Doing it space, it may be a break for your weakness. Give it we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. So caught up in your love, I've been trying, but you won't let me in my brain holds you. I've been by myself, asking for help, but just to work on you. Yeah. You always make me feel like okay. You never leave my thoughts alone. You're the reason I'm going out. I just can't stop.
We are back. I thought Mrs. Scurv was asleep. I cracked the door a little bit and looked, and she's standing behind the door, looking in the phone, looking right in the face. I was like, ah! That reminds me of a dream I had last night that I can barely remember. I hate that. I'm back. A couple folks cut out, but let's talk about this. Let me get rid of this Jerry Springer. Well, I'll put it up later because it's on another computer. If it was on the same computer, I just dropped the link right there, but we'll make sure I just keep it open just for that. But we want to speak about this lady here. No. She ain't no lady. I ain't gonna give her that. I ain't gonna show no hate, but I ain't gonna show no love either, which to them is like showing hate. Here's an article from npr.org. I'll put it all in the description area after the show is over. Carolyn Bryant Dunham, whatever. That name rings a bell. Carolyn Bryant Dunham, who accused Emmett Till before he was lynched, dies at 88. See how that is? You got some good people out here passing away early, and a woman like that lives to 88 years old. It's just, I don't care. It just doesn't seem fair. Like, even if she's defined by that one part of her life, like, come out and apologize, say something, and like I said, the deadly Karen energy. I didn't want to say something about white women because they would have came after me because I'm on the edge. They looking at me. Anytime, it's like this. If I'm known for burglary back in New York City and I moved down to a hick part of Georgia in a town where there was never burglaries, and I moved there and all of a sudden there's burglaries, guess what? They're going to be coming to me. Understandably so, because I brought that with me. But I'm going to read a piece of this article, and I really don't, I want to talk about not necessarily her, but because this happened where she passed away, this is a good reason to talk about that deadly Karen energy. And if you haven't downloaded the LANCESCURV app, I had it scrolling across the bottom for the longest time. Make sure to go to the Google Play Store, the App Store, and also Amazon. The app is free. And yes, I'm a black man, so it's not bootleg. It's not going to mess up your phone or your device. And you can get to a lot of your favorite individuals who are here on the show at the push of a button. So it's there. And there's a lot of other goodies over there also. And I hooked it up recently, really nice. So check it out, download it. There's about maybe close to 4,000 people who have that app. I appreciate all of those who do. And imagine my app is in almost 4,000 phones. That's crazy. You know what I mean? That's not an ego thing, but nobody would download it if they didn't know that they wouldn't get constant good work or just consistent work. I'm not going to say it's good. Some people think I suck. It's okay. I do what I do. Every blow is not a knockout blow. You're not going to knock out everybody with every single blow, Anyway, here it is, right? There's a few words here that I might not be able to pronounce because it's just like these little hick town places. The white woman, and even they come out with it, right? Oh, check that out. The white woman. This must have been a brother who wrote this, right? Because white people don't say the white woman, right? It's a white man. They just say it's a woman. So there must, and those first three words, it wasn't like nicely said. The white woman who accused black teenager Emmett Till of whistling at her, causing his 1955 lynching in Mississippi, which galvanized a generation of activists to rise up in the civil rights movement, has died at 88. Carolyn Bryant Dunham died in hospice care Tuesday night in Westlake, Louisiana, according to a death report filed Thursday at the Caucasus. It looks like Caucasian, right? It's a Caucasus Paris coroner's office. Her death marks the last chance for anyone to be held accountable for a kidnapping and brutal murder that shocked the world. Isn't that something, though? They talk about the justice system, and she got to live that long. And that was the last chance for any justice. But for those of us who know that this universe is perfectly balanced, whatever religion you say you follow or type of spirituality, there's no way. And it wasn't like she took a pin and poked his eyes out, but her actions caused him to die. And it's that deadly Karen energy. It's never good for us. I'm going to read on a little more. Till's mother, Mammy Till Mobley, insisted on an open casket funeral in their hometown of Chicago so the world could see her 14-year-old son's mutilated body, which was pulled from a river in Mississippi. Jet magazine published photos. I miss the old Jet magazines because they showed it back and it was necessary. Like not just the photos, but I remember old Jet magazines, and I remember I might have been like 6 or 7 years old. And you know how folks back in the day, you had Jet, Ebony, Essence, and Sepia magazine. The same, you know, I wonder whatever happened. I gotta research that, right? But Sepia magazine, they had those, and they had them sitting around barbershops, and you would see these people heads cut off and stabbed up and whatnot. It wasn't the whole content of everything, but you might have had an article, and we need that. We need to show it. It's painful, but the world needs to see what happens, you know, when this kind of hate is executed. You see? You know, that's right. That's right. You're right, Sosa Bell. You're right. Let me put this up here. The ultimate justice is one she's headed to. Spiritual court. Daggone right. It's a beautiful thing. There's no way you're going to have some happy afterlife after something like that, and you don't try to make amends from that. Maybe she didn't think he was going to get killed, but still, you need to go in there and stop these guys. You know, no, man, I ain't going for it. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And it's Goober sending them good, sending him, Emmett Till, good energy. There should be Emmett Till court if she goes to. You know what I mean? Let us see him, you know, maybe as a grown man or whatever, but you walk into the Emmett Till court, right? Anyway, okay, I'm going to say that sentence again because it hit me. Her death marks the last chance for anyone to be held accountable for a kidnapping and brutal murder that shocked the world. Till's mother, Mammy Till Mobley, insisted on an open casket funeral in their hometown of Chicago so the world could see her 14-year-old son's mutilated body, which was pulled from a river in Mississippi. Jet magazine published photos. So that's why he looks swollen. And these white men that did that, how could you do something like that to a little boy? A little boy. He didn't even live there. He's from Chicago. I believe he was down there, you know, to visit relatives down there. And this happened to him. And there's so much of that went on. And they thought nothing of it. And when I think of those things, it pains me. Because that could have been me if I was born in that era, in that particular time. And these white men are doing something to you, and you don't know what you did. And they were doing whatever they did to kill you, then dump you in the river. They didn't just get him and dump him in the river. He was beat down. Grown-ass white men beat him down. You see what I mean? You know, this becomes historical when we look at, oh, that was so many years ago. And this stuff, to me, is still happening. It's still happening. We watch out for it more. But even before then, really, really try to remember through what you've learned. Of course, we weren't born way back in those days. Maybe some of us were. But just imagine 1900s, 1800s, you're on the dark road, 1700s, down the dark road, you're a woman. You're amply endowed. You ain't putting yourself out there, but people can see you got a nice shape. These white men on horses or walking or driving. Well, they're not driving back in 1700s. Let me make the correction. They out there walking down a dark road, and they see you and they look at each other and you know what that look means. And you run and you try to get away and they catch up with you. I won't even explain the rest. You know the rest. Black men, if they see you, they just have to mess with you. It's not like they're going to see you on a road at dusk. Everything is getting, dark. And they're walking down. They don't know you, so they have to mess with you because in their mind, they already feel superior. In their mind, they are superior. I'm going to read on one more paragraph. In August 1955, Till had traveled from Chicago to visit relatives in Mississippi. Dunham, then 21 and named Carolyn Bryant, accused him of making improper advances on her at a grocery store where she was working in a small community of Money. The community was named Money. Wow. The Reverend Wheeler Parker, a cousin of Till, who was there, has said Till whistled at the woman, an act that flew in the face of Mississippi's racist social codes of the era. Evidence indicates a woman identified Till to Dunham's then husband, Roy Bryant, and his half-brother, J.W. Millam, who killed the teenager. An all-white jury acquitted the two white men in the killing, but the men later confessed in an interview with Look magazine. Oh, I remember that magazine. I remember that. Yeah, okay, I'll drop this in later on, but I'm damn, that's messed up. And I heard that, correct me if I'm wrong, did he have a hearing issue and would whistle, or maybe the whistling was something that he did? Like, he didn't do that. Like, to the boy was 14 years old. He knew where he was. He ain't gonna whistle at no white woman. That's what he did. But maybe it was a habit, like to get somebody's attention, or maybe he had a hearing issue. I don't know if that's true or not. But he did that. That's what he would usually do. But he did it in the wrong place, and it was misunderstood. But to kill somebody on that? Why couldn't she open her mouth and say, what do you mean by that? Or whatever. She goes and tells her husband, and a little boy? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You kill a little boy for what? Did he smack her? That's not even worthy of death. Even if he said something up under her clothes, I don't understand. I don't like to see stuff like this. It's like that's what makes me want to talk about stuff, because certain times in our history, we couldn't talk about it. So maybe there's some age-old spirit that got into me and says, you're going to do this. You know what I mean? Right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't, look, as much as I've been through in this life, I can hate and justify it within myself, but I don't hate. But I'm not going for the foolishness. That's not right. Even if it's my own people that did the wrong, I'm not going to go for it. Right is right and wrong is wrong. If there are about 10 black men raping a white woman, I'm not going to say, well, she a white woman, so let them go ahead and do it. No, I'm not going to do that. Righteousness won't let me do that. I can think that way, but it won't let me do that. Now, if she's getting gangbanged because she wants to get gangbanged, I'll just keep on stepping. Maybe she wanted it, and that's consenting adults. But I'm not going to let that happen around me. That might be the death of me, because I'm going to step in. If there's a sister getting raped, no. Look, it might be 10 of y'all, and I might just get 3 of y'all before you get me, but I'm taking 3 with me. And I'll face what happens in the afterlife, because that's a righteous deed. And there's too many of us out here who are damn punks. Probably pick up the phone and try to record it. I'm always strapped with cameras, at least 2. And I would not, I don't care if somebody stole the camera. I'm putting that bag down and I'm kicking people in their face, nuts, everything. If I got a knife, I'm cutting dicks off. Nah, there's certain things. And we need more men in this world who don't have that damn female simp ass energy. They're all neutered in their mind. You need aggression. But strong black men are not acceptable in this day. That's why they're trying to make us all LGBTQ and all. And no. They ain't happening here. I ain't with that. You gotta have balls full of testosterone, and that's gonna guide you to do what's right. regardless. I don't care. Shoot me. I'm going to do what's right. I'd rather go out like that. And people looking at me and, well, I was so scared. No, that's wrong. Go ahead and do it. No. No. Cop have his knee on somebody's neck. You're going to sit there in the pictures that were taken, and it's obviously he's dying. Then shoot me. I'm knocking you. I'm running at you like a football player and knocking your ass off. Now, I might keep running because I know you got a gun, but I'm not going to have this on my watch. That's wrong. There are black men that I've known, that young black men plotting and planning on maybe snatching somebody's bag. I'm like, yo, you're not going to do that. You got to deal with me. And I'm not painting myself as some righteous Superman, but no. Back in the day, when my mother would come out of work in a York College or LaGuardia College, she'd come out late. She never drove. She never was interested in driving. And in the neighborhood, we knew everybody growing up there. And there was a certain code that was there. They would see Mrs. SCURV, my mother, walking down the street with bags of groceries, and they would leave off the corner from selling drugs, even ones who weren't, but I'm just saying those who were doing that, and walk her home with the bags if I wasn't around. Walk her home with the bags and make sure she got in. All right, good night, Mrs. SCURV. They turn into the little respectful boys again. What happened to that? No matter what you do right where you are and do right in the world. That was community, even though them guys should have been up there doing what they're doing. They had a certain code. They weren't going to let certain things happen. At least let it go back to that. We don't want no drugs sold in the neighborhood. We know that. I'm not condoning that. I'm just saying how even people who are doing certain things still realized. And she knew what they were up there for. She didn't go to them and say, please help me. They said no, because those guys might have been young coming over to my house when I was 6 or 7, 8 years old, and my mother giving them lunch or milk and cookies symbolically. I mean, there was never milk and cookies, right? But it was always a hospitality there. If we had a cookout, they can come over. We didn't know they're going to be drug dealers in the future. They remembered that. That might have been the only home life or warmth that they felt in their life. Maybe their lives were troubled. They didn't have that. They might have grew up in a house, but not a home. And my mother extended that to them unconditionally. She couldn't say, well, you're a little poorer than us, and we weren't rich either. We were just middle class. You know what I mean? We weren't rolling up in no Rolls Royce or whatever. You know what I mean? The Benz that I drove was an older Benz that my father had. It wasn't no brand new bad boy. I can say that, or I can lie. No, I ain't gonna lie. It was an older model. You know, so it is what it is. But we need to go back to that. But they teamed up to do something. So that shows you how much hell they had inside of them. That they'd rather take a boy's life because he was black. What if it was a little white boy that did that? They wouldn't have did that. They know they had to preserve their DNA and their genes into the future. They have a sense of that. They fear us growing. They fear us taking over. We ruled everything when they magically appeared out of nowhere. This is not hate talk. It is what it is. The bottom line is that it's always going to be something with them people with that mentality. Are there some possibly that don't have it? Yeah, there's some possibly that don't have it. When the line is drawn in the sand, guess what side they're going to take? We have the activists who are white that go down to the marches and put the big sunglasses on and have a big sign they can hide behind. So if they get tired and drop the sign, at least you'll see their face with the sunglasses. But you know they're privy to being around a water cooler on these jobs when the real super racists come out and say things. Do you ever hear any fights or disputes like that? He was over there saying racist things and I won't stand for it. No, they chuckle or they stay quiet. But they come to show you that they're going to protest with you. But that's not where you protest. You protest where it happens. Show me. Show me. So all this posturing and acting and you know, I'm not like that. Why do you even have to say you're not like that? If you're not like that, you don't have to say it. You're just saying it because you know there's a little bit of you in there just like that. You see what I mean? So it's oh, she did, Mimi? Oh, how you doing, Mimi? Welcome in. I heard that demon lady had asked for forgiveness to Emmett Till's family a few years ago because she knew her ass was on her way out. You know, time can have a humbling experience on you. It's a humbling experience on you. Now, you know what my crimes are done, but I'm kind of asking for, a little leniency. Time is moving on. I'm 60 years old. I see things different now. But I took the walk with Mr. SCURV yesterday. I was like, oh man, from just being up all the time and doing the shows, not the shows. This is the fun. This is the talking part. This is the fun part. But being up and changing file sizes and doing graphics for other shows and putting it up on the other platforms, the audio podcast platforms, and oh man, it's a lot. That's the lonely part. Everybody goes and I'm left to do that, which is part of it. And I do love doing it. And the creativity and website, like even tonight, I tried to go into my website and I have a little issue with it. I meant to call my friend tomorrow because it's not opening up. It says there's a critical error. No, there's nothing wrong with it. That happens not frequently, but once a month that kind of stuff happens. But I can't get in on the stuff to even update. I can get on the site, but getting in the back end because I want to add a new post. So right now I'm on there. Same thing. There has been a critical error on this website. Please check your site admin email inbox for instructions, whatever. So I have to do that, but I'm gonna call my friend. He'll take care of that for me. I like to keep up on things. That sucks. So some people go to the site and they're like, okay, let me see what else. Or they just go straight to YouTube, but you're missing the writing, you're missing the other things, little announcements I have to make. So always go to LANCESCURV.com every now and then. And it's a prompt on the app that will take you there. A lot of it is video, but soon it's not just going to be that way. It's going to be a whole lot of other stuff. We took a little 2 days ago. Took a ride up in the mountains. Didn't go to the house or anything, but we went up there. And wouldn't you believe Mr. SCURV on the van coming down spotted some plants out kind of in the wild, and she didn't tell me. She's, let's just take a little ride up there. And she's like, let's get off here. I said, what are we getting off here for? There's nothing around here. Let's just walk a little bit. I'm like, wait a second. We walked, and she walked over these plants, and she got some, right? It wasn't nobody's yard. It was just out there, but she spotted them. So this young guy, I wouldn't know. Damn near everybody's younger than me now, right? It's 60, it's 70, it's 60. Well, you expect it, right? So this younger guy walked up, and he didn't speak any English, but we understood what he was saying. He says, oh, you like plants? He didn't say it that clearly, but we understood what he was saying. So it's like, yeah. So he lived in a house that was right there that we were standing in front of after we walked a bit because we were looking at plants there, but we weren't going to take them. We opened up the property, man, the house, the view off the mountains, the yard. So basically he explained to us that, and I don't like those terms. So he said, oh, I'm the house boy and the master's not here. I said, you're not a house boy. If anything, you're a house man. All right. Say it that way. And he laughed. And the master, right? I don't know if it was white people, but pretty much it might have been black people. He said they live in Accra and they have this property up here. And they leave him there and they pay him. But he was saying they don't even give him any food. Out of his pay, he's got to go get his food. So I guess he was rebellious a little bit. And we realized that it wasn't his property after a bit. We thought it was his. So he was cutting off stuff. Mr. SCURV was taking it. We gave him some money for it, but he wasn't looking for it. And we walked off and had a crap load of all these different plants. I'm getting into it too. I'm like, do you have that plant? Do you have that one? I don't know what it is, but she knows them pretty much. And there's some things I hear she doesn't know. That's what kind of bedazzles her, that as much as she knows about plants and flowers and greenery and stuff, there's something new. Like, what is that? What does it do? What is it good for? Can you eat it? Does it bear fruit? Wow. Very interesting. But yeah, we're talking about that Karen energy, deadly Karen energy. Look at her. Could she take a picture and look nicer? She looked like she was mad that this nigga whistled at me, right? Let me take a sip of water, yo. Give me a second. Woo! I don't know where some of y'all get out of smoking weed, but a nice, tall, cold glass of water does it for me. Anyway, you go to these jobs in the corporate world, You go to these jobs where there's rank and file. You go to the shopping mall where people look at you in a way sometimes that you have to wonder what they're thinking. You see Caucasian women as a black man or woman, and you can tell when they're not sincere. You can tell when it's the Colgate smile and the fake dealings. You can tell when they don't like you, which it doesn't matter whether they like me or not, and they're just going through the motions to deal with you. Me as a black man, growing up in New York City and living in different parts of the country, I know these looks lots of times. And when it's that deadly Karen energy, she could be smiling with you. She can be having the most engaging conversation with you. But deep down, nigga, you better know your place. And I've had to deal with that because as a man, because I'm a man, I've been a man for a long time. I wasn't even just born male. Yes, you're born and that's all you have between your legs to decide who you are. But I was a young man even then. And they don't like you as a black man to walk strong in who you are. You're not walking around with your leather glove on your fist and raising it and yeah, black this and black that. But just to be one who is confident in oneself, they don't like it. And that picture, even though I don't think she's particularly attractive or there's nothing about that picture that's good because of what she did, I'm glad she had that expression on her face. Look at her face. Whoever took that picture needs to be awarded some type of prize because it captured the deadly Karen energy. It captured that look that you know they are now on you. They are now after you. You are going to bow down to this white woman energy. You better know that I am superior to you, and you better tap dance every time you see me, and you better smile, even if you don't want to, on sight, or you will feel my wrath. And now they have the video shorts on YouTube. They have the videos on YouTube. It's consistent across the board. There's new content being made every single day about these Karens and the privileged energy that they have. But it's so funny. And can I say everybody? I'm not here to give you statistics. I'm not here to say, well, it's not everybody. I'm not here for that because they all have the potential for that. If you push them enough, it's just how good they are hiding it. That is the only factor that you can depend on, if they can hide it well. But if you understand how it can't hide itself, it's always going to rear its ugly head because they despise you, black woman, walking in your confidence. They despise you, black woman, walking and knowing that you are equipped to handle anything in life, and you know this. So even on these jobs that you go to, and you have many Karens there, or a few, they may try to act like they're getting along with you, but they can't take it no more. Because see, they're a ball of contradictions. They're a ball of insecurities. And how dare you walk in here with your sexy shape, but you're not just pushing that. You got a brain. And even if you are a single mother, you taking care of your kids, your children, and getting there on time, doing the damn job, leaving and living in balance. And they don't have that fortitude that you have. Yeah, I can't really say all of our sisters are at their peak game. Sometimes their energies are misdirected. No, I don't give a pass for you if you are black. That's what I'm going to say it again. If you're doing something wrong, that's really wrong, generally across the board, no, I can't give you a pass. I will counsel you and say, hey, you're doing this wrong. You need to handle it this way. Well, they white? I can do it. 400 years of slavery. No, you can't. I'm not giving them a pass at all for anything. But no, you can't. Because we're going to have to face our creator. And you can't use this look, instead of hating them, doing something to them, now wipe them off the face of the earth. They do something to you to threaten your life. I ain't softening it up. What I'm saying is that now we all talk about it. We all know it's there. Let's redirect our energy. I do not want to have my life looked at in the framing or the framework of all he did was complain about white people. No, you ain't going to dominate my mind. What you're going to see is me loving our own. That's where I'm going to put my energy, loving our own, correcting our own, helping to build with our own. Let it be about that. Let them get mad at that. They love it when your mind is dominated by them. You see, when you break up with somebody and you don't talk about them no more, you may not have jumped into a new relationship, but that person gets a thrill where, oh yeah, I saw your old man. When you used to be with all them years, all he did was talk about you. He said some negative things. He said some positive things. And so the woman is like, oh, well, I'm a tough act to follow. The men do it too. And this is how they like you. Oh, the racist. No, you're minuscule to me in the work that I have to do for my people. You don't matter. We know what you did, and I'm going to talk about it when necessary. Your tactics and how you move, I'm going to talk about that strategically. But to sit here and just, that's all I talk about? No. But I have to do it in a way where we instruct. And so I'm kind of getting you hip if you don't realize it. You all know it in the chat room, but there may be one person here who doesn't understand how they work. That deadly Karen energy and the negative thoughts and deeds that they will do to knock you off of what they think is a high horse. Oh, you on your high horse. Who you think you are? I'm going to wipe the smile off your face. I have to make you feel my superiority because of my insecurity. That's what it is. But that's not my problem, Karen. Don't come over here with that foolishness because you're going to get straightened out. And I'm going to call it for what it is. Yes, I understand. Many of us are on these jobs. We just can't say something like that. But we can carry ourselves in a way. And there are things that you can say. See, you don't have to tap dance when they come around. They want to try to make you feel insecure. They may even have a higher position than you on the job. And it's not just about a job, it's in life. But even on the job, if they do, you carry yourself in a way that you have a status and a positioning that they can't give you and they can't take away. That's what pisses them off. The integrity, the dignity, the inner strength, what you exude, which overshadows them. And you may not have to say certain things to them where they're going to bring you down to human resources or whatever and whatever. You know, they say something to you. They may say something scathing to you. Let's just do a little, scenario. You've been, what would they say? Say, for example, they say something to you to try to chip away your confidence. You don't have to get mad and say something to them where, see, they're trying to draw you out, make you say something that they can run down now to try to get you fired. Don't make it about them when they come to you with this stuff. When you know they're trying to attack your self-esteem or whatever, swing it around as something good. When you have an opponent coming to you and you on the ropes, grab him and spin him and put him on the ropes and bang his body. So when they come to you to attack you in a sly way, let them know, in my life, I just know, and I've lived a life of just being so confident. I'm just that way. Every time I hear myself speak, do a Muhammad Ali on them. I hear wisdom, and when I look in the mirror, oh, no, I know. I mean, I get so many compliments a day. Anybody looking to tear me down is just wasting their time. That burns them up because they don't have your essence. They don't have your soul. They want it. And they can't. Look at her, man. Look at her. Look at that face. What an ugly woman. I'm going to call it for what it is. Look like a bird. Look, really looks like an old ugly bird. Where the wings at? But when you get that look from them, trust me, you know, and you get that look from them, and you're doing what you're supposed to do when you get that look. You know, that's crazy. They're unhappy. They don't want to see you getting along at home. They don't want to see you getting along and live a life of balance. They want to see chaos in your life. And if they don't see the chaos in your life, they are determined to bring chaos, you know, to your life. And then if you're not on a job and you're just out in the street or in close proximity, you let them have it. You let them have it. You ain't running nothing here. Who are you? Who died and made you boss? You better go to the gym and do a few more kickbacks, because when you turn sideways, I didn't see you for a second. They hate when you talk about them that way, because see, they hate the physicality of a black woman. And if you happen to be a little overweight and they want to try to, they're a little twiggy self, whatever, say, listen, I can lose this weight. Do you know what kind of body is under this weight? I just didn't have time for a time, but trust me, I melt down this little bit of fat on me. You know the shape that I have? Shoot, I still get men catcalling me even though I'm a little heavy. And it's true. Even when you're a little heavy, you're beautiful. I love it. I'll take you heavy than one of them Karens looking like that. I'm speaking as a single man, even though I'm married, but I'm just saying, I'll take you heavy and what they call thick in a heartbeat over one of them there. I've been at fashion shows and modeling little things when I was doing bodybuilding. I had a couple of mixed crowds there. You know, those girls in the back, they change clothes quick and they ain't worried about, oh, I have to hide. My titties are out. My hairy vagina's there. I see all of that. And when they strip naked, no, man. Oh, no. Look at them, look built like Gumby. Remember Gumby? Now, you have somebody using chemicals and doing little things or whatever have you, you know what I mean? But ain't nothing like a sister. And they don't like the black man to be in love with their sister. A lot of them don't have no intentions of doing nothing with you. It didn't matter if they wanted to, because I ain't going to do it. But when you're in the midst, you're in their company, and say it's a woman that you don't know, you just met her, or you know her casually, and you give the black woman more attention than you giving her, she don't like it. Cheese with your sister. Never cheese with any one of these entities. Never. And they hate it because it's a power thing. Another thing I notice about them, when they feel they got their sexy going on, and you walk past them or you're in the elevator with them or you whatever, and you're not cheesing all up in their face. You looking good today, but master, boss, master. They greet you. Greet them back with the same intensity. Look them right in the eye. How are you? If I'm in a situation like a corporate situation, that's it. You get in the elevator, you turn around and keep your face straight. They don't like it when you don't seem to want them or desire them. See, when they decide to unbutton the extra button on the blouse or wear a skirt with a high up slit and cross their legs, you see all up in their thigh, and you're not looking down there or changing your demeanor and you keep it military, they don't like it. Because in their mind, all of these Negro men, they love white women. Oh, they feel that too. They feel that you value, black man, them over your sister. And I take every opportunity to let them see that this is not the case 100% of the time. Most of these black men out here, a lot of them who are into the superficial foolishness, even if they tell you they exclusively date sisters, nobody looking, and that white woman come on to them hard. Where you say you live again? I'm going to be lewd, but I'm not going to be lewd. I'm going to keep it. I'm just going to ask to read between the lines. Most of these black men who are cooned out, when they got a white woman on their knees in front of them, serving them, they can't keep their eyes on what they think is one of the most beautiful sights in the world. And why is it to these types of black men? Not all black men. Because that's the white man's wife. And so many brainwashed black men want to be that white man. The power, the status in their world, you see? That's why so many work so hard to have that. So the icing on the cake is to have you there erect, checking her tonsils. You see what I mean? And in the midnight hour, some of these brothers will sell you out quick and run right over to them. They ain't even got to look like they have no kind of shape. They can look funny, but because they're white, they could. And I'm gonna tell you something else. There's a lot of these pro-black YouTubers and pro-black activists that are out here whose names you know. And I ain't gonna blow everybody up, but I have a lot of little information that's passed my way. A lot. Been out here in the game for 22 years, even before YouTube was around. I don't know everything. Hey, Lance, keep this between you and me, but you know so-and-so. Really? Yeah, I got some pictures. I'm going to send them to you. Oh, shoot. For real? So these types of Karens, too, get a sick thrill. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. I'm just throwing out a few things that, you know, I happen to know. You watch these Karens when they have black activist meetings and rallies and stuff like that, even some of the ones who are protesting in a pseudo false kind of way, right? They love it when you as a black man talking about, you know, the oppression, the racism, but when you one of them real ones that talk about the white woman and the black, and you better stay away from the pink parasite and all this and all that. And they're there smiling in the audience, way in the back, probably with some shades on. And if it's cold, a hoodie, you don't really know that this woman's white. You maybe say, oh, that's just a light-skinned sister, but she's way in the back. No attention is going toward her, but she just grinning, just getting moist because this pro-black nigga that's talking all this stuff and talking about staying away from the pink parasite white woman is going to be up inside of me later on, giving it to me good. Because he's a hypocrite. So I have status over all of these sisters that are here that are doing the rah-rah with him because he ain't going home to them. He coming home with me. He putting his mouth all up in me. Putting his mouth all up in places where only toilet paper should touch. Touching places back there where the toilet paper never touched. Only because I'm white and my stuff is superior. So you have a lot of these little white women, no matter what the status as far as the finances, all the way from the trailer park trashes up to the so-called affluent, that are having their little secret dealings with a brother. And this is what makes them feel superior because of that coon brother that gave them queen props. And they looking down on you. And don't let the ones start babbling. Because you know these white women will lock you in, make you have a verbal contract. You know how sometimes we start talking when we're doing things. Oh, tear it up, baby, it's yours. Oh, this is yours, baby, I love you so much. You know, that's with the brothers and the sisters. If they talk like that, you may not talk like that, but something is expressed where you know you're in. And I've talked to some of these cooned out brothers who exclusively, I got one in my family. My cousin. Yeah, I'm gonna call him out. He's retired now, but he was a captain with the Metro Police. You know, that ran the Metro North Police Department. Sergeant, lieutenant, and captain. When the 911 thing happened, he did a lot of documentaries where he was involved. He couldn't leave the white meat alone. He called himself trying to hang out with me a couple times. He couldn't, because I was a little different than he was. You know what he told me? He was as black as the black on this banner. Not the black, the gray on my shirt, dark gray. The black on the parts with right behind Jerry Spring and Dilly Cannon and Don't Marry. That black behind there. Black! Black, black. They say we're born in triple darkness in the womb. Well, the triple darkness came out with him. And yeah, I'm not making fun of black people or black, dark-skinned, dark-complected people. No, but I'm saying that because he couldn't leave the white women alone. And one day we were hanging out. He told me, oh, you know, I got to try to date a black woman. That thing, when he said that punched me in the face. I already knew he was into the white woman thing. But then when he said that, I said to myself, how could you say you should be doing that already? Because I had issues with him, but I kind of tried to ignore him. He was going through things, a bad divorce, everything like that. And actually, he came home. He paid for everything, did everything for this white woman. Came home and there was a slimy little white man in the bed with her. The guy looked anorexic. The guy looked like he was on drugs. But he was white, and that's what she liked and wanted. He was the big black nigger buck provider who probably whispered in his ears and drove him crazy. Oh, I just love your black dick. Oh, let me suck it. And this probably... This guy probably had orgasms so hard until he came blood. Blood in the sperm. More than that day's supply. He shot out 7 days worth of sperm until nothing but blood came out. The coon's dream to have his own white princess. That's what it is. That's what it is. And they see you with your sister. I don't mean your actual blood sister, meaning a black woman. You sitting in a restaurant treating your wife, your woman good, looking at her and only her. Women with tight skirts and nice shapes walking by, and you don't try to blink your eye and look. You looking at your woman. I see it. I ain't got to look. Look. I'm going to say it the street way. You know how much ass I done had in my lifetime? And I'm not saying black women are just that. I'm just saying. The day you die and they put you in the ground, there's going to be some nicely shaped woman at your funeral. You going to push your hand up with the casket through the dirt and try to reach it? There are beautiful black women coming off the assembly line every day. At what point do you get off the merry-go-round? And there were old black men, yeah, I might be a little older than you, but you sure is fine. And these guys got their hands crossed, hoping that she'll accommodate him. Realize your position, man. That game ain't going on no more. And we got some of the old sisters out there too, still playing the game. Certain things are going to happen in your life. Certain things just might not happen. Accept life and move on. We may not have everything we want, but as long as you're here, take joy in those who have the things that they want. Even if you didn't get that, even if you didn't get the white picket fence and the 2.5 cars and married and this beautiful house or whatever have you, those things are not guaranteed. But when you have joy in your heart for your brothers and sisters and what they achieve as you work hard, that's good enough. It's good enough. Is this to hold on to certain things and move to this life? You're missing out on so much. I'm not happy until I have a Rolls Royce, then you just might not be happy for life. You know what I mean? And when you get it, then what? But yeah, some of these successful coons work hard to be that surrogate white man so they can receive the white man treatment. So many slaves, or those enslaved, we're not slaves, but we were enslaved, on the plantation desired to be between the thighs of Master's wife. And a lot of us did. We couldn't believe it. He's out of town, horse and buggy. He ain't coming home no time soon. And she calls him in to lift a heavy package that's not really heavy. And before he leaves out the room, she says, listen, when you bring that out, I want you to come back in. And he comes back, knocks the door. She says, oh, open the door, come in. And he inhales just as fast as he opens the door after he sees what he wants. Miss Hannah, I believes you, and he's looking down at the ground. I believes you's exposed right now. I'm not supposed to be seeing this. I can get killed for this. Bucky, close the door behind you. Now he know he done jerked off many a night thinking about the time when that skirt blew up and he saw them white thighs. What's going to happen is between you and I, and you know if I say you raped me, you dead. Give me some of that black dick. He's still scared. He checks all the doors in the house, panting, happy. And he finally gets to lay on top of this woman and sink his thing back inside of her. I've been watching you for years out there. I saw you take a leak and you peed, and I couldn't believe how long and beautiful it was. Give me that butte, baby. Now he's doing it scared. He wanted to do it, now he's doing it. But he's like, oh my God, what if somebody finds out? But he can't stop pumping. So he fills her up. Now she got something over him. Anytime she wants to find out what the other enslaved brothers and sisters are talking about, he better tell the truth. So I saw you under the tree over there talking. What y'all talking about? Well, he gonna sell you out for the white pussy. Well, they planning to escape tonight at midnight. Why didn't you tell me that earlier? I just put it together. I was gonna tell you. You know what her reward is? Well, come on up into my room. Mass will be away for 2 more days. It's going to be a while because he's going to be home for 2 months. So you need to come on and get your reward. Then the other slaves are mad because they wanted to. They see him going up in there. They're going to tell the master, I think Bucket doing something with your wife. You know what I mean? It's like corporate America politics, job politics, but on the slave plantation. Same thing. Ain't that something? It never changes. They don't want you messing with any women when you have a black dick. Black masculinity is not acceptable unless it's there to help their own causes. They got so many white men that are scared of the black dick that they bring black men home to screw their wives and get it over with. It's like when you know you did something wrong and you're going to get a whipping, you just stay around, hang around. I don't want to like wake up out my sleep and you whipping me. I'm sleeping with one eye open. Just get it over with. I'm scared of the black cock. We know we've done wrong things to them down through our bloodline, and even in the corporate world, we screwed them over. I'd like you to come home and screw my white wife. And the sick part about it is they sit there and jerk off watching the black man on top of his wife. But yet they hate you. But they want to still be in control of what they hate. Ain't that something really and truly? They fear the black man on top of the white woman and his white woman because he might know something that, you don't know. Oh, you had a black boyfriend when you were in high school? Yes, but it was secret. We used to meet each other for what? Well, So now he's always watching out. You're walking down the street, you're in the mall, in the shoe shop, and there's an attractive black man fitting your wife for shoes, and you watching. You better not try to look up her skirt, goddammit. I know what he wants. There's all this racial stuff mixed with sex. It comes out that way. It's crazy. But them white women do not like it when you don't like them. And when there's a way men could make a woman know that they like them, but they're not saying it. That little extra, and this is all women. But with them, they want to know. And if they doubt it or don't know, they don't like that. Because I'm white. You're supposed to love this. And we have some women from other countries who damn near look white, but they're not. But that color thing, it goes. This is why so many women are bleaching. If I can get to a lighter shade, I can find a better man. You know what I mean? I'll be higher up on that scale of desirability from back in the day. A lot of it still exists. And I can't stand it when I see a darkly complected sister who feels bad about herself, and she's drop dead gorgeous. We're not even just saying from the body and sexual things, but she's just gorgeous. The essence and the soul and the energy that radiates off of her. There was a young lady who worked at the pharmacy downstairs, and she was in her mid-20s. Not one piece of makeup, not one piece of anything artificial. Drop dead gorgeous. And I'm not talking in a lustful way. I told her, you need to have some people photograph you and capture what you are. She's not working there anymore, but I have to find her. And it's not a sex thing, because I'm not gonna, oh, turn around and show your booty. No, I'm not doing that. Even though she was physical perfection. If they showed a picture of her and shot it out into the space and said, this is a black woman, no woman here would be angry at that representation. They'd be like, good, look at her. Even though we all have different complexions, different sizes, some are slim, some are larger, some are this, some of that. We come in all colors with it, but her there, that again, like I say, if they found her somewhere else, if she was walking around somewhere where there was some kind of fashion thing going on, somebody would have spotted her and say, yo, come over here. Just like when they found Mike Tyson, and he fought, he liked to fight, but he wasn't trained as a fighter. And they saw his raw ability. They said, yo, this is a winner right here. You see what I mean? That's what it was. You know, it's crazy. But that is its own complex thing. They will come after you when they think that you don't desire them, but they hate you at the same time, because they'll always pull out that nigger card. If you don't dance and waltz with them the way they want, you a nigger. You need to be real. You need to realize, or reminded, you a nigger. And all of a sudden they say, well, the coons, I'm a nigger. Did you forget? Just because you pumping this white pussy frequently and up under me and all this stuff, don't forget, I'm a white woman. The very reasons why you wanted me is the very reasons why you need to be glad that you got this far. It is a privilege and it's not a right. Yes, it's and how we react to it in our sickness toward them. That's my concern, because they're going to act the way they want to act anyway. They're going to do it. I don't care what they think. I'm in Africa now. I don't care. Never cared before. I don't have to see them as much. I saw a bus full of them the other day. They looking at me. Why are they looking at me? I'm another black man, but they saw a different kind of, walk. They picked up some, American vibes. That he's a black man, not from here. And so they looking at me. I'm looking at them. And the driver was outside, and they had their windows open. So I said, what is this, a mobile zoo you got going on here? He didn't understand. Hey, what did you say, my brother? I said, them animals you got in there. Where's the zoo? You transporting the animal? And they were looking at me. They heard the accent. They already knew. I had to, and my camera had just overheated. I was going to record it and put it on up. That would have been funny. But yeah. Ooh, let me just move on a little bit. I went all over the place. I said, after all the sleep I had today, had a good night's sleep last night, slept all afternoon because of the thunderstorms, and woke up. I was like, man, but I don't want to keep myself up all night tonight. Right now it's 12:21 for me, but I still have to talk about the toxic in-laws don't marry into big families. Now, let me just state that. Before I state that, let me just grab a little more water here. Keep things going. Julia, how are you, sister? Got to get you back on. We got to have the shows where everybody comes in and talks. Ms. D Nice, how are you? Neffy, Queen, Midas. Again, I'm looking away from the chat room as I talk because my brain gets clogged up. I start reading things. I'm trying to talk and I say the words all wrong. But let me come over to this other screen here that I want to read some things on. So let me say that there are lots of big families that I know, right? And a lot of the things that the individual that I'm going to read their comment is true. But there are one or two black families that don't fit this mold. So don't think I'm saying all black families. There are people who I know in the chat room who come from big families. And if I know you face to face like that or whatever, it's not your families. I'm not saying that about. But I'm going to break down a lot of things that I did see. But again, like I said in the beginning of the show, I want to talk about this because on that show that we did on digital currency, Harry Belafonte passes, Don Lemon fired, and the bitter taste of betrayal, where Miracle Joy came on and expressed her situation with her fiance that's probably not going to be the fiance no more in his family, and how controlling and manipulating they are, but they have this bond. He's with her and it's not about her. Yeah, it is, but it's really about the big family he comes from. They're very dysfunctional. She was raised a different way. I'm just kind of saying that you can go back and watch the show, and it was really pleasant that she came in and opened up that way, because it opened up my mind on what could be said. So even in families, our own families, some of us, we have that bad apple or several bad apples, whatever. But I'm just talking about these really huge, big families that they're toxic and dysfunctional. And when you marry in, well, you don't expect to marry into a family, but in actuality, you are. When you marry the person you marry their family. You're now connected, right? Now, certain circumstances, it may not be a bad thing or whatever, but you take that on. Now, in that particular video, there was, and he said some of the, I don't know if it's let me see something. By the avatar, I can't tell if it's a male or female. And the name, they wrote it publicly so I could say the name, GM Williamsful. Been on the channel and supporting for a long time, and they speak their mind in the conference line lots of times. And I know that even if they don't agree with me, but I respect them, because you don't have to worry about how they feel, and that's the way I love it. So I'm going to read that comment. It's a few comments, right? And it's on this particular topic about don't marry into big families and toxic in-laws. That's what I added in. Here it is, GM Williamsful. It's there for you to see it if you go see it. People from large families always, in capital letters, put their family first. The hell with everybody else. Girl, leave them. Get a man who's an only child, right? So this might be a woman, right? Identifying, I'm assuming. It doesn't matter though. Only children don't have such issues, meaning like an only child, right? I have extended maternal family members who came from large families. They have emotional incest going on here. They cling, they put their families first. That's large families. People from large families are the most envious and unhappiest of all people. They aren't self-supporting, but are always supported by outside forces. And I said, read more. Avoid people from large families. They are poison. Now, I'm just reading what they said. And I've had experiences that lead you that way. And again, not all, right? So I'm not saying this is an absolute, but this needs to be talked about, and really needs to be talked about in another subsequent show in detail, because I'm not going to go all the way in like that's the only thing we're talking about tonight. Sometimes I'll do something with, like tonight, with a couple topics and go in on them as much as I could and give you enough time, in the dialogue. And again, I'm going to open up the lines if you want to come in, but just give me a second to finish reading this off and to speak on it a little bit, right? The next one is Lance. In large families, when one marries into a large family, it is family first. People from large families put their original family before their spouses and even their children. In large families, family is always first. That is what is done in large families. One should avoid relationships with those from large families, stick to people from smaller families. They are normal people. Wow, these are strong words now. People are going to hear this and be pissed off, right? Lance, large families are always dysfunctional in one way or another. They have that clinging and insular mentality. People from large families are distrustful of outsiders. I hate large families. I will never, never date anyone from a large family. I can talk about dysfunction. My extended maternal family are the quintessential freeloaders. My mother refused to see what parasites they were until the end. I told them in curt terms how parasitic they are. I refuse to carry them. They live on property they haven't paid for. I haven't paid for in years, so the property will go and be auctioned off. Karma is a blank, and we know what he means by that. To the young woman, all large families are toxic and intrusive. Never enter into a relationship with a person from a large family. They are all the same. She is an only child. She should date or enter in relationship with fellow only children, like an only child, entering those relationships, or those in small families. Large families are a different species. They aren't normal people. Large families are dysfunctional. So how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate comments. So I can take from that they have property and the family members and in-laws were living on it, not paying it. You know, it's wow. After reading that, I have to look at the comments. Because I know some people here have come from large families probably, and maybe had their own issues. I don't know. Yeah, right. She said not all families, but many of them. Right. And I'm not saying all of them. You know, Blue Water said, sounds like my family. Wow. Kwame said, our African families, it depends if they're in unity or not. But you remember, you get it all in all families. Yeah. And Miss D. Nice says, the black man is the most feared person on the planet. Yeah, I know that. I lived that all my life. You're so right. There are families that are selfish and envious. Let's go up a little bit. Yeah, let's see. Okay, we got some comments. We got some comments coming on in. I'm going to not be on forever because my voice is talking to me. It's like I'm drinking more and more water than anything else. It's like when you got a leak in your engine, you got to stop every 5 miles to put more oil because it's dripping out. Hold on, y'all. In a photo that I use for the toxic in-laws, I searched across Google. I didn't really want to show an obviously intact, well-to-do, through the visuals, happy family. The picture on the porch caught me. The picture showing a lot of young children caught me. The dudes in the back, that's not the husband. That's probably the sons or the baby daddy, whatever. You know, you can see a lot that way. So I made it where, yes, they're my brothers and sisters, but they don't look like they up on their game in life in many ways. I mean, you can look at the picture and tell. Maybe I'm wrong, you know, I don't know. But I had to put like folks that look like characters, seriously. You know, but yeah. And yeah, there are a lot of drama in large families. Exactly. And fester in a family environment. Exactly. You know, just because you share DNA, you're a DNA sharer. You have the same experiences when you're young, but it doesn't mean you have these bonds as you get older. Because in families, you have the favoritism, you know, the parents, either one or the other, or if there's just one, you know, kids pick up on that. Mommy always liked you. She always gave you more peanut butter on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and you always let her eat the cake mix that when you was making the cake. You know, folks don't forget that stuff. You grown, and these things still bother you. You know, I've seen large families get along fine, but I've seen too many. I don't think anybody would disagree with me if I say the majority of these large families have some kind of drama going on. Majority meaning 99% all the way down to 51. They're not the minority. Especially, I'm focused on the black family. That's right. Oh, yeah, the favoritism is not okay. Not okay. Oh, yeah, I've come across them, Kwame. Lots of them. You'd be surprised if I mentioned. All I'll say is I got to let Mr. SCURV come on and talk about those things. Read between the lines. We kept up the land, the animals level, etc. They did nothing. Granddaddy wanted us to play piano. We did because he was I don't know what that word is, but by whatever, they were cowards. Didn't work out, but leached. Yeah. You have some out here who some may make more money than the other ones, and they designated them the in-house ATM. And if you don't give it up, if you have a nice outing and they see it on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, Instagram, they mad at you because they watch you. He had the money. He could have gave it to us. But I'm talking about marrying into the big families, right? They have their dysfunctions. Those are the dysfunctional big families. But your energy might not mix in with their energy. You might come in to marry or be engaged or dating. You marry them, you marry them into that energy. See, they may not have gotten a lot of hugs when they were young. And you had hugs when you were young, and you had support when you were young, and you had parents that backed you up and did things, and you bring this energy and you mention it, not bragging, but that's what you know, and you're not trying to step on anybody's toes. That's going to piss off these grown people who never had that. They may have it in their mind, my father never did nothing for me, and you talking about how much you love your father. You see what I mean? So they're not going to like you because of that. They're not going to like you with your own, especially if you're an only child. I grew up as an only child, even though I have a brother who has a different father, but he was never around that much. So you can say, and technically between my mother and father, I'm the only child between the both of them. But I love my brother, and he's my brother. Just wasn't around as much. So I had my own room, had my little things, little toys, got older, little electronics. And my father taught me that I had to work for things. If I wanted it, you had to work for it. So me going to work with him when I was a young boy, coming up, until he stopped the business before he got sick, it wasn't, well, I'm just going to help him to be nice. No. You want that? Either you work somewhere else or you work with me and you get it. And there are times I'll gift you stuff. It's not like I'm going to not buy something for you to eat or take care of you as a father, but as a man, I have to groom you to be that. So we have the father-son time, but now you a man. If I was on a job with him, he held me to the highest standards to get the job done. Oh, there's not, I'll do it for you. Son, you're my son. So I wasn't spoiled as an only child. I'm very gritty. It's like when people look back on the life of Muhammad Ali, their family wasn't rich, but they weren't lower class. They might have been lower middle class, right? So people expected to see that he came from the slums and, the mama was hoeing and the father was tricking. And no, it wasn't that way. The mother was a homemaker, which is a hard enough job. And I take my hat off to those mothers who stay at home and the father works. And Muhammad Ali's father painted signs professionally, as well as other things that he would do to make money. But they weren't pouring out of doors, right? And they grew up, they were never hungry, but they didn't have riches, you understand? So, only child doesn't mean that you're spoiled, that you're some brat. But they will try to paint you like that because they didn't get probably the things and attention that you had. I find that that's a big part of it. You're coming around as privileged because you didn't, Then with the drama, the one you're marrying will lean toward putting that family first. Well, of course you want to always uplift your family. But when disputes come up and different things happen, how are you going to vouch for this person who obviously did something to me, but because it's blood, You stick up for them. Red flag. Don't do it. Stay away from this person. Break it off. Reduce it. But just like Miracle Joy was saying, she knows that it's over. She will still be kind and fulfill her commitment to him in this time of need, but after that, it's done with. Because you'll have a life of dysfunction visiting your door, making phone calls and whispering things and trying to mess up what you have, because if you do have a household of inner peace from the inside and peace with the person you're with, and you will have disputes and light arguments. Oh no, but if you have that and they can't get their little dirty, slimy claws on your life to keep drama going in your life, they're not going to like that person you're with. They're not going to like it. If they can't get up in your bank accounts, they can't get up in your love life. If he's walking downtown with a cousin that you met once and she's in town, the cousin's in town, and the cousin's around the same age and looking mighty sexy, they flying off at the phone. Oh, he's down there with another woman. And you walk to the bus, you know, where they go from state to state. You know, she might be visiting there for a little while and then she's off to another state, and you give her a hug and a kiss on the cheek. Oh, he hugged her and kissed her on the cheek. And they're going to add in stuff too. He had his hands on her butt. Knowing that's a damn lie. But every chance that these particular types of families can do, they're going to do. See? That's crazy. Wow. Blue Waters, it was all family. Let me see here. Boom. Ms. D-Ness, I have friends from big families. There's a lot of strife, jealousy, and major drama. Again, it's not all big families, but there's enough of them out there. Right. To anybody listening to this, present and future, we're not saying it's all families. And even with small families, there are little things that go on. And even with big families, there could be just a little couple things going on. But most of the big families, we'll say, like I said, majority meaning 51% to 99%. We don't know where it is. I'll say 51% so nobody can get pissed off what I say. We know it's a lot more than that. Bottom line is, them big families here, they got some serious hang-ups. And how they see themselves and how they carry themselves with each other. And when you meet somebody, and you're part of one of these big families, and you meet somebody who is just so much the ideal of what you want, which your family is not that you're married anybody in your family, that's incest, but they will keep those emotional incest things going on. I am your mother. How could you put him over me? I need you right now. Pull on them strings. But you have that mama who's over these dysfunctional families. And I don't know. It's like entertainment for her. She might be the self-professed Christian only because her ass is getting old and she sees the end time coming. But deep down, she just is gossipy. Deep down, she shows her favoritism. Deep down, she likes to see the drama going amongst her children because she can benefit from it. Talk about this one, talk about that one. And the ones that tell her like it is, they become the outcasts. See? They become the ones that she'll put her slimy tongue on in a bad way with gossip to keep the other ones away from you. If you're in one of those families, and tell her like it is, and tell her like it is. Because with these dysfunctions, nobody wants to see themselves for who they are and what they've done. And you'd be surprised. I want to do a show, and I did it before, on mothers who hate their daughters. Right on YouTube, early on. I did it. I'm going to see when the credits are going up if I could find that. Mothers who dislike or mothers who hate their daughters. Go on YouTube, on the page right there where you can search. You have to do a long search. It could be just mothers who hate or mothers who hate their daughters. It should come up. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull that up. And this is something I did a long time ago. Let me see. I'm going to do an open search. I'm just going to put my name first. Mothers hate I'm quite sure that was okay. Let's see. Okay, got it. Got it. 9 years ago. Oh my God. And I'm gonna tell you, 9 years ago, the audio was choppy, it was bad. It just didn't sound good. That was 2 hours and 52 minutes long. Let me grab this link, copy it. If you want to listen to it later on, there it is. Here it comes. Here you go. Exactly. Check that out. That's 9 years ago. Wow. Let me see exactly when. It just says 9 years ago. God dog, I'm doing this for a long time. Let me see. Oh, the comments are interesting in this one. Oh, you got a lot of comments. Oh, let me say something. GM Williams, who left a comment on that. Wow, the one whose comments I just read. That's 9 years. Like I said, this person rode with me for a while. And GM Williams, who, if you hear this, contact me. You know, I got the number, email there. If you want to come on the show and talk about it, I'd love to. But this is what they said. Mothers like that come from large and very large families where they did not receive attention and love. They're the one jealous of daughters who have socioeconomic and educational advantages that they didn't have as children. Women from large and very large families are the most jealous and venomous mothers. Wow. There's somebody else who said, oh yeah, you're 100% correct. And Golden Lady said, so you've met my mom? Somebody didn't agree. And okay, I'm not gonna read them all out, but there's a lot of comments there. That's one thing that hooks you on YouTube. You'll see the video, you're like, oh, I enjoyed it. You turn around, look at the comments, it'll really, it's crazy. Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap this down soon. I could talk on this a lot more, and I want to, and I will, but I'll do it in a dedicated show. If there's anybody who wants to, I'll just put it up here one time. If anybody wants to come on in and have anything to say on any part of the show tonight, feel free to do so. There's a link, just click on it. You don't have to show your face. If you come on, the banner's already up. I'm looking a little tired, a little slimy from sweating and didn't shave yet today. So, when I don't shave for a day, I feel like the wolf man. And you can't even tell, but that's the way I feel. Before I met, did he get into a fight with his siblings over money? Nope. The order was there. Got a little buck back after a while, but nah. They didn't. None of that. None of that. There were other disputes, but none of that. The thing is, we got together. I brought all the money home and put it in the same. We had the same account, just like we do today. Same account. It wasn't, my account, your account. No. That's what I believe a man should do. Shouldn't have no saving no $200 for titty bar money. Nah. Every dime. I don't play. If I can't do that with a woman, meaning that I'm not saying women out there, I'm with her. But I'm just saying if I was single, if I can't be that way with a woman, I ain't going to be with her. If she can't put all her money in the same account with me and we're married, can't do it. And at the same time, I don't rule with no iron hand like that. Feel free. You have to have the attribute of being responsible with money and other things, right? I have to have that attribute. And anytime I take something out of that account, before I do it, I call her. I don't care what it is. And the same for me. I tell her, listen, if it's household stuff that needs to be purchased and something you may want within reason, or you ain't got to tell me nothing. But I'm bringing home all my money and I'm putting it in the account. You run in the household, you're responsible, and I already know you have the integrity. I don't have to watch you. So I'm not with that, man. You better keep. No, I'm not a simp. The choices you make and the way you act makes you a simp. But I'm not gonna, but the opposite of simp doesn't mean some You know, I'm a high value man. And so, no, I don't make that kind of money to be. And even if you do make that kind of money, it doesn't make you high value man. It's how you operate with your other half, with your woman, and you come together to build. No, that's crazy. You know, that's crazy. There should be no money disputes. If there's money disputes, you shouldn't be with the person, because that's one of the, aside from cheating, that's one of the main reasons why couples, black couples especially, they don't stay together. You see what I mean? So that's how it is. But anyway, if nobody's coming in, I'm gonna wrap it down in a few minutes. I can't believe I've been speaking for 2 hours and 47 minutes. That's a good thing. My vocal cords are in shape, even though my throat's a little dry, and I feel like snacking on something. I don't think we have something healthy. You know, I don't think we have anything in here. That's messed up. Let me take another little sip. Hold on. With your bad self, say it loud. I don't know. My brain after 60 is getting weird on me. I'm sampling music. It just pops out of nowhere. Even if it's like toward the end of the song, people are like, I know that song. What are you singing? Like somebody stirring up my memories and stuff like that. I hope that's not a pre-Alzheimer's type thing. What a show that would be. Talking all out my head. But yeah, Jerry Springer dead. Carolyn Bryant Donham with her white woman Karen energy dead. Yep. And toxic in-laws. That's a whole show onto itself. I definitely want participation with that, because there'll be a full comment section afterward. You know that, and I will go in on things I have experienced firsthand. Even just dealing with somebody from, you already know that they ain't gonna like you, because like their order, the way they carry themselves within that family, and they don't have to be under the same roof, because they had a period of blending and gelling. All those years they were together under that one roof, as in that picture right there, to already establish who likes who and who doesn't. That when they all go into the outside world and you have one sibling who doesn't do as good, that one sibling might have, knocked off 3 kids and working at a fast food joint or something, and the other one went to school. Not that you always have to go to school to do good, but doing their thing, nice car, nice apartment, going out, doing their things, and they come together to barbecue. You know that one ain't gonna like the other one, especially if they didn't get along when they were young. You always thought you were better. Yeah. Well, yeah, I made better choices. Look at me now. Look at you. What you think about that, mommy? And someone else is the one that's favored. But the gossip and the phone calls that they do on each other, firsthand, I know about that. You know that, and it's usually the mother. You know, your brother bought a brand new car. Oh, really? What kind is it? What is that? Mercedes-Benz? Oh, we got Miko on. Miko in the house. Oh, I know you guys talk about this subject.
Man, look at here.
I'm gonna show you. I can show your face.
Yeah, I know I'm looking a little rough.
Okay.
I'm trying to fix Bentley some breakfast.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me give me a second.
Hey, we ain't gonna stay on long because you gotta go to bed.
Oh, you gotta go to bed?
But no, I work tomorrow night, the next 3 nights though.
Oh, okay. But I'm saying I slept. We had a storm. It's 2 in the afternoon. I woke up from 8:30 in the morning. I had a good sleep. I had to show right to bed. And then the storm came, and I had no choice but to just fall on out. So I fell off. So I could stay up, but I'm gonna tool around a little bit, maybe open the conference line. But I'm not gonna stay up till 6 o'clock in the morning on my side.
I know you're not. You're gonna be on here by your damn self. Yeah.
Hip to me,
but
right?
This was a good topic, but I missed it because my ass was asleep. I just woke up. I cut the shit out my finger last night on a food processor. I was reaching in the dishwasher to get Bentley dog bowl out of there because I had them cleaned and set it in the dryer, and I hit that damn blade. And woo, 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 woo.
Ooh.
So
Ooh.
now I got to play nurse.
Oh.
I just left Walmart, but that topic, and I was like, I said, let me see what's going on. And this is an awesome topic. It's just amazing how homegirl done died. But I had put in there, I ain't even waste my breath on that heifer because she gonna get hers. May she rest in piss.
Right.
Rest in piss. But them in-laws, them big families, and I always said I wanted a big family. I always wanted a big family because what they showed us as family, you know, you think family, somebody, y'all gonna have camaraderie. Them the worst motherfucking ones. But
Yep.
I remember a long time ago, my son's father told me, he said, Miko, calm thicker than water. No, blood thicker than water, but calm is thicker than blood. And he was saying that because I didn't too much care for her last two kids' father. But you know what? You can't get involved with who fucking who. If it don't apply to you,
Right.
let that shit fly. You know, so when he told me that, it makes so much sense. When you start getting into relationship problems and hey, it boils down to who doing the fucking. Blood thicker than water, but calm is thicker than blood.
Ooh,
especially between a man and a woman.
Right.
Shoot. I remember my uncle said, my dad, when he used to always be jumping on my mom, my uncle Ricky Young used to always jump on him and fight him and stuff. He said one time, your daddy must have got the best of him and he elbowed my uncle in the eye. He would walk around with a black eye. He said, now here I am walking around with a motherfucking black ass eye. And she laid up in the bed with that goddamn nigga that just finished whooping on her ass. Stay your shit out of that. And then he said, ever since then, and he said the only reason why that kept him from killing my daddy is he didn't want us to, you know, hate him for killing him. I said, shit. But he would have went to jail and missed out on his own kids in somebody damn relationship business. You know, we women know when we need to get out that shit. We know we make all kinds of excuses. I'm staying for the kids. I'm shit. Your ass gonna be dead for the kids. And every now and then, me and my sister sit up and we talk, and especially about how my dad. Cause remember I did a show when I first came on about that shit there, and that nigga wasn't no joke. But I'm so glad my mom mustered up the strength to leave his goddamn ass, and she went and told his mama, I am giving you back your damn son. My grandma told her, well, sure, I don't think the Lord, she said, what the Lord brought together, he don't want, he said, my mom said, I'm quite sure the Lord don't want no nigga whooping on my ass every night either. Cause he was getting close to getting killed by my mama. So we would have been out of two damn parents. So now his ass stuck in a wheelchair or handicapping his current wife taking care of him. And let your favorite kids, you know, see about you. But he a mess. Stay out of them relationship problems. If they ain't, you know, really trying to kill them, you know, ain't nothing wrong with a little fucking and fighting. Make up the break up the make up, because that's all motherfuckers do. It's a game for fools. But yeah, I've seen, like you were saying, how the mother-in-law talk bad about the daughter-in-law. They don't like the daughter-in-law. Next thing you know, the son, he don't know what to choose between the mama or the wife. You choose the one who giving you the coochie.
That's right.
Shoot. Like your grown baby boy said, well, then go fuck your mama then. And though some people do. Some people do. So, you know, if you got you one of them, you better about face. Leave that alone. But I showed this like I missed this damn whole live. You've been on 2 hours on me. Thank you. Yeah, this was a good topic.
No, but we're gonna do a dedicated one just for that with the family.
Yeah, because I'm definitely
you,
gonna listen to that one you did 9 years ago. I thought that was the StreamYard link. I done hit the damn link and was on another video. I had to come back into the house. I said, oh, okay, I see what he doing.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was old with the mothers that don't like the daughters.
Man, and that shit still live in effect. As they say back in the day, DOS in effect, that rap group, that shit still the same right now today. You mad cause your daughter look better than you. I never forget my older sister told me, When I stayed in California, Miko, I think you jealous of Lamaria. This shit was so hilarious. My daughter come out the bathroom. She was brushing her teeth. She come out and peek around the corner. She like, the fuck? I said, honey, I could never be jealous of anything that I gave birth to. I say, first of all, I have a gorgeous daughter. So that makes me proud when somebody say, that's your daughter. Yeah, I gave birth to that. You know what I'm saying? She's very talented. Do things I can't do. Hell, it's certain things I don't give a damn about playing no damn piano. I don't want to play the fucking piano. What the hell am I be jealous of you about playing the goddamn piano? So I was like, wow, no, I ain't that jealous, mama. No. I was like, wow, but they out there. They out there. They love their sons better than their daughters. Just like I told you, that white lady was calling that black baby a motherfucker. I mean, a bitch. And she hadn't even had the bitch yet. She was still pregnant. That pissed me off. So y'all just keep that little baby up in prayer, because she coming in the world with a white mama. And 9 times I hope she looked like a black girl like me. I hope she looked like Malia and Sasha. Or should we say Barack Obama? Because he got the white mama. But that's sad. That's sad. Where everybody at? Did we drop? Hello? Shoot. Ooh. Brother Lance. Somebody done went to sleep.
Okay. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm back. You know what happened? My internet, of course, I always keep it plugged in. And it's a type that has its own battery that when you pull it away from the cord, it stays charged. Well, I was moving around and about, and I kept it near me on this portable charger. And the portable charger was connected to it. When I came from the bedroom, I put it down on the table, and the portable charger ran out of power. So the small little module I have started to run out of power, and that's what happened. It ran out of power. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? So I had to quickly stick it back into the wall and let it charge for a minute or two, and so I'm back. So yeah, those things happen, but that's not the common way. So sorry about that. And so Miko got knocked off, I think because of me, but it looked like her thing was separate. Like she was getting knocked off before. So that was a little good taste. And what I'll do, I'll work that particular show because I want her on there, because she's going to get you all riled up when we speak about, and I'll come up with a good title to let you know that's what it is. But we're going to definitely do a show like that within the next few days according to her schedule. So, and I'll bring some other people in that you probably never heard before, because I'm going to start doing that too. There are people that I know that you will absolutely love, because back in the day when I threw parties, I mean the legitimate parties, I know how to have different characters and personalities and stuff and kind of mix them up. You know what I mean? Where it would be explosive in a good way. Like, oh, if this person got in the same room with that, boy, they're going to set it off. So I know. Well, y'all know Big Spence. I want to get him on stuff like that too, because he got on with Miko, and there's a couple other people. Miss Baby Powder, she gets on. I used to work with, and I used to work with Spence. Boy, they're gonna light it up. And there's about 5 other people too that show's gonna be at least 6 hours long, and you're not gonna want to miss it. Over here, Ebony Eve in Ghana, in Accra, Ghana, it is 1:01 a.m. I'm 4 hours ahead of East Coast time. So whenever you think about Ghana or Accra, I think all of Ghana is in the same, time zone. So right now for you, if you're on the East Coast, it's going to be 9:02, so that kind of sucks, because I like to do shows where like shows like this, like around 9 or 10 your time. But if I did it 10 your time, it would be 2 my time. So that throws me off a lot. But I want to kind of honor, that show on the conference line a couple nights ago. Tracy J was on, and you remember mixed genre. She was kind of quiet for a while, but we did a little comedic type. I was letting it all hang out. My mouth was dirty that night, but I was a comedian that night talking about relationships. I'm going to put that up on the Patreon tonight. It's been sitting there for a while. I just didn't have the time to put it up, but I'm going to put it up over there. Oh, in Texas, 8 p.m. Yeah, you're the next time zone over from the East Coast. Yeah. So, okay, Monday to Thursday. Okay. So we have Positively Angela coming back this Monday evening. So maybe I could do something after that. But I want to do something in a good ample time where I know we can go hours and hours. So I may make it a little earlier than my 6 o'clock East Coast time. I don't know. We'll see. Or we could do a fiery show and then take it to the conference line. We can let it all hang out. And I'll still put it up. And I might even put it up if it's not too crazy on YouTube. So we can do that too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, I'll try. He's real busy. And there's a lot more to that story meets the eye, Ebony. So we have to talk about that in private. Yeah. So there's a lot of other good people that we have out here. And I've been talking to them, but people have been busy these days, That's what it's been. But listen, I'm going to get ready to leave. Miko didn't come back. Miko, if you're listening, hurry up and come back if you want to say some more. We give it a few more minutes. But I'm going to sign off in a little while. Oh, God, you're right, Roreality. What? Oh, man. We get Miko, Kimberly Cross Country, and Big Spence on the same show. Talking about these toxic families. That show be a bigger nuclear explosion in Hiroshima. For real. Oh, man. Oh, Spence don't give a damn. Speaking of Spence. Okay, let me see. Okay, let me finish this because I wrote this down in my notes with that shirt there. Blood is thicker than water, but it is thicker than blood. I had to write that down. My phone is bugging out. Okay, hold on one second. You know what? Let me see something. He might be working and he might not be. Who knows? Let me call up Brother Spence. Let me straight hustle and see. And get him on. But let me write this thing down with this t-shirt. I want to take a day and just make t-shirts. Like I can put like simple designs on them, but I still have to learn how to work the digital pad because I don't want to put nothing up there corny. So I just been doing words, letters, words, and stuff like that. But some of these things, like with what she just said, that's a shirt right there. That's a shirt. You know what I mean? You go to a family reunion and your family don't like your man, but you wear something like that, that's letting them know. We might be family, but we swapping some crotch sauce, so that's a lot deeper. I wish that was possible, mixed genre, but she tried to bring me in some drama a couple years ago, and that's not going to happen. That's some drama right there. They brought in 2 other people to bring drama, big time. I'm like, what the hell? I don't know what it is with some of these people sometimes. I'll explain that one on a private call. I'm being real with everybody. I used to like try to avoid certain questions. Well, yeah, I'll try, or maybe I would have just brushed it off, but no, I'll tell her what it is. That was a weird situation too. But we'll do that. We'll do that on the Patreon. We'll do that on the conference line. Explain that one. I thought I did, but we explained a whole lot of the situations, but I'm not bearing the weight, of these people, a lot of these people who bring that. It's like they can be intelligent, charismatic. Now, that I like that to bring people on like that for the show. I'll even take a short or a funny comment, or my ego's not involved. But when you straight up, you cool and everything for a long time, to bring major drama. Major drama. Got people calling my phone, bringing drama, trying to get me against other people, and this and that. And you want to sit back and hide like you ain't got nothing to do with it, when I know you do because I got proof. It's like, oh man, It's like you have a good thing going, and some folks want to just come on in and be like a little mole for a little while and then come and just start stuff. But I'm too determined this ain't gonna stop. As long as I'm alive, even if I get into other things, trust me, I'm gonna always sit down and talk every day with my family here. It's easy. Make up a banner, hook up a link, get the mic ready, hit the buttons, boom. That's the way it is. Yeah. Exactly. Queen Red Pill, welcome. Okay, I haven't checked my emails probably like 2 days. Was it within the last 2 days? I'm gonna check it as soon as the show's over. If you sent it to Lance at LANCESCURV.com, it'll be easier for me. SCURV Media, I had that for so long. I got to check through everything. I get hundreds of emails there every day, and I try to check those too. But I'll check them all tonight, and I'll respond tonight. Yeah, Queensman, that's. But the funny thing, I'm here for y'all. My friends that are close by that I grew up with all these years, they know all my stories. You know what I mean? And it's not just about my stories. I like the good old fashioned, let's sit around in the living room. Maybe you take a cushion, you want to sit down on the floor. Maybe you might want to lay out on the rug. Maybe you want to stand up for a while. I don't know. Let's find our space, our level, and let's talk. I've been privy to such intensely wonderful conversations growing up. My parents and their friends and friends together and just long, good. That's what I like. Look, let me tell you, y'all know, right? If there's a bunch of people on the line and it's a great conversation, after a while people are like, yo, where's Lance? You still here, Lance? I'm like, yeah, I'm still here. Because that's what I want to see. It's not about me and my ego. I set the platform up this way, which anybody could, but it's about the final product. If I'm the chef in the back making all the meals, but everybody enjoys the meals, if I just peek out and see everybody eating, that gives me great satisfaction. But now when you start, well, no, get this one off and push me more and all. Now, if there's a reason to deal with a person, I will, but let's let the good times roll. Let's have fun. Let's have thought-provoking conversations. But yes, that does happen. And it took me a long time to realize that. Y'all know how I am. Oh, y'all want to come on and do a show? Any one of you all call me and say, hey, I want to do, Miko the other day, she said, I'm free. I want to do something. I said, come on in. I didn't say, well, you have to do it separate because I have to do the 10 o'clock show. I made what she wanted to share on the 10 o'clock part because I know y'all love and enjoy her. There's no ego with me. Well, you love and enjoy her. What happened to me? No. When she comes on, it gets lit. We love her energy. I know y'all like me too, but I'm always over here doing stuff. Let's bring in some people who can, titillate us and tickle us and make us think. It makes me think I'm a member too. I'm not just, it's my show. And I know at the end of the day, I'm not going to let disrespect go on. And then I'll come and say, yo, this is my platform, and we can talk gritty and whatnot. But when we have people coming against each other, I don't go for that. You know what I mean? And it was funny because I'm going to tell it. I don't care who hears it. We had Kimberly Cross Country on it. We those days she would record stuff. And so she recorded a 5-hour segment. I love it when she's driving and she just goes off and just talks. She likes that. And she can come on the shows also and interact. So I had this recording. I had it from the night before, and y'all know when I get stuff, I get it up right away. So I put it up right away, and we had it up from like 12 noon East Coast because I was in Orlando and really had a lot of good shows at the right time. So after that, Homegirl, who we just mentioned before, not Kimberly, but Kimberly had a thing up. Homegirl didn't even have a show scheduled. When it was over, she called me around 6 o'clock because then she knew that show went on for 5. Oh, I want to do a show tonight. I said, okay, I'm a little beat. I didn't have to be on this recording. I was doing other things, but I still had to set up other things. Because remember, y'all, if I have a recording that's several hours long, I had to work on that and get it up and set it up. And then let listen to it until it's done on YouTube and say, oh, let me start something else. When that one's going on, I'm looking for the next thing. I might not even have it. I might record something. I might set up to do a show after that. I like to keep it with boom, 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 boom. Like I think this past Sunday, I didn't do anything, but I was doing so much stuff behind the scenes and I put a lot of stuff. I don't like that. I like to always have something up every day. But every now and then, if I know I'm doing, like I'm going to take some time in one of them days where we do a live show, we don't take the rest of the day and do nothing but t-shirts. I'm so behind. I got a long list of t-shirts. I'll put them up. They'll be funny to look at, even if you don't buy them. It's only going to be like $1.50, $2 markup. I'm not trying to rip nobody off. I said, man, that's cheap, man. That's only cost $10. Let me go buy that. Or 12 or whatever. Quality. But anyway, yeah. So she went, and I never put a time limit on anybody. There have been times I've been dog tired, looking to sleep, like really tired. I never admit that, but there are times I am. I do have a lot of energy. So what am I going to say? Oh, end it because I want to, because I want to sleep? No, I'll be like, yo, listen, this is how we do it. You get on there and talk. And a bunch of you, especially if it's a bunch of you talking, I do not want to end it. I'm like, listen, I'll tell one person, two people, I'm going to bed. You all, this is too much of a masterpiece to end because of me. What you do when you know you're wrapping it down, give me a call. I got my ringer up high and the phone near my ear. Wake me up so I can come on. And because I have the controls here, everything's up. I'm the only one who could do that. And let me know when you know 5 minutes before, I'll come here. I might even say hi, show my face, like, yo, I'm tired, y'all, but it's been a good show. And I end it. So I don't have, these hang-ups where if it's something good, I got to always be in it. People send me recordings, they're good, whatever. I just want everybody to know they're going to feel some different energy, have a good time when we have these conversations, because a lot of them sometimes are spontaneous. There have been people who've called me over the years that I know of that I've been trying to get to. Yo, Lance, man, I'm ready, man. I know you can't do it now, but maybe I said, no. We can do it now. I just got to run to the store real quick, do something, whatever. And I'm back. And we do it. Brother Holler, rest his soul, used to do that all the time. Hey, Lance, my brother, can I, we need to do something, And I always talk with him like that, so I'm not making fun of him after he transitioned. But that was our little thing. He said, man, don't call and try to act like it's me and get me in trouble. That'll be real messed up. Funky Cold Medina. So, yeah, some of our best shows were like that and last for hours. And I'd be right there. And I'd tell them, Holla, keep on going, man. I'm going to be right over there by that couch. Just ring me when you're about ready to get done. That's the way I do. So I'm not jealous of nobody. I want everybody to come on. And it hurts me when people mess up, and I ain't sensitive and no, I'm tough. Sometimes you might want to cuss me out or whatever and then apologize later. I'm cool with that. My thing is the show. My thing is making something good that you want to listen to. Even if it may not be as spectacular or sensational as the next show with celebrity gossip or inside stuff, but just that real conversation. If I can't bring that energy, even if I'm on here by myself and I can't keep it up, you ain't gonna hear me all of a sudden. Oh yeah, man. Let me think. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, if I'm not talking about something, I'm getting off. You see what I mean? That's how I do. I'm not gonna stretch it out just to have some 10-hour show. I'm not gonna do that. It's got to be good. Let the press say, yo, got us through so many shifts, road trips, and laid back weeks. Crunk program this week, spitting truth. Yeah. That's what it's all about. We may not all agree on everything, but we live together in each other's minds and we get each other through certain times. Like, yeah, I can depend on this. I know I can ride out on this for the next few hours. Exactly. Oh yeah. Me being from New York, it has formed me to be the old school New York, not the newfangled New York where I don't know what the mentality is now. We had a code back then, whether you were a gangster or not. Yeah, Queen Midas, you know it. That's what we do. Yeah, Queen, that's what she said. Jerry Springer showed the world niggas for real. That was the beginning of the end. That was the precursor to social media niggerism. It was. And he benefited from it. So that's why I said I have mixed feelings. But anyway, yeah, let me wrap it up. We've been on here for 3 hours and 17 minutes. We'll be back on tomorrow. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Who dies, who lies, who tried, who whatever. And it's always really a pleasure, Wow. It's the truth. Yes, OG songs. Yes. Oh, what? Yes, you do. Oh, Yala. Yeah, you got to be tough. You have to be. It's not about acting tough either. You better be, balls to the wall, gritty, tough. Again, I don't know what it is like there now. I see a lot of fake toughness coming out of that place. And with your toughness, yes, niggerisms. I'd love to put that on a t-shirt, but that's not going to fly with these companies. It's not politically correct. But yeah, you have to be. You got to see things. You got to experience things. You have people who don't even come from there bragging about being from there. And I'm not saying, because I'm from there, I'm better than anybody else. No. Chicago, what? Atlanta, what? Compton, Houston. There's places all over the country that, but the tough that I mean from New York City back in those days was a sustained toughness, that you had to have. You had to have that ride or die. You had to have that gritty, like sustainable thing going on. Let me see here. No, we don't now. Maybe we will in the future when everything is done and completed. There are a lot of things out here that are watered down versions of different things, and it is what it is. But yeah, whenever we do, you will know. Only thing I sell now is the t-shirts. When the older ones are corny, I want to come with some slick. I got dozens and dozens of whatever, offer the different colors when I make them. Like I want to still put some illustrations on to make them have a little more pop, and yeah, it is what it is. And thank you so much for your kind words. Yeah, but y'all can hear it in my voice right now, right? You're like, this guy's winding down. No, I'm not ever gonna fall asleep on the show, although I did almost one time. Yeah, niggerisms. Maybe I have to put on the shirt iggerisms and have us iron on. I hate the iron on stuff. Iron on the end. I've used that in some of the titles of my shows, niggerisms. There's certain innate laws that are embedded in that particular segment of society that they all agree on because they all do it. Niggerisms. If you see a niggerism come out in somebody, you know that they go home to a bunch of other ones like that because they niggerisms, those types of people, they have to bond with other niggers. I hate to say it that way. That's just the truth. Word of the day, niggerism. We have a third word of the day, right? Yeah, he did. He did. Stood right there and enjoyed it too. And allowed certain things to go on. Yep. Just like Julia said too. Jerry loves seeing black people make an ass of themselves. Yep. Anyway, I am going to run. I will talk to you all tomorrow. But like I said, if you all want to go into the chat room, the conference line, I know it's tough. A lot of times it gets well into the night. You're waking up all tired. And I had a good long nap today, but my voice is conking out on me. I was quiet earlier today. That's strange, right? But anyway, let me pop it out. And we're going to come back tomorrow with something just as spectacular, something just as strong, something just as good. And it's going to be popping for sure. All right, y'all. Much love to you all. And I will talk to you tomorrow.
Some type of way, you make me want to stay in all day. You're the reason I can't get out my head. I just can't stop thinking about you. I just can't stop thinking about you. I just can't stop thinking about you. I just can't stop thinking take it away. Feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe a break. Boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. You got me feeling some type of way. You make me wanna stay in all day. You're the reason I can't get out my head. I just can't stop thinking about you. 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 I just can't stop thinking about you.